On Lugo, Dustin is out again for this one, guys, after the birth of his daughter Mila. Sean, what's going on tonight?
Oh, living the great life. Talking Bears. If I
He's
may quote,
very enthusiastic, man. I can tell you're
I'm very,
tired.
I'm very tired today. It's been a long, long day, but we're gonna get through this. We're gonna have a lot of fun doing
Yeah, these shows are tough, man, when they're at 11:30, especially.
it.
Thanks for everybody who's joining us today, guys. We're going to talk about Ben, a leader of men or not, and we're also going to talk about who was starting at left tackle on the second day of OTAs, guys. That and more after this. What's up, beautiful people in Chicago? Thanks for joining myself and Sean Lugo for another edition of the Bare Minimum Guys on 4 Star Chicago Sports. Sean did just put another blog up, his top 10 rookie running backs, right?
Yeah, top 10 rookie running backs.
Yep, on
Oh,
4starchicagosports.com, guys. So make sure you go check that out. It is a good blog, Sean. I was able to read about 3/4 of it before we had to start this show. But I like what I read, man. I like your list. Who's the kid from Auburn, man? I did not expect him to be on there.
you know,
I
I,
expected you to have Tootin in that last spot.
I actually took Tootin off altogether, and I'll tell you why. I still believe in what the hell's his name who was there
ETN,
last year, who broke out.
ETN.
No, the other kid,
Oh,
Tank
Tank
Bigsby.
Bigsby.
Tank
Yeah.
Bigsby, and I still think Etienne's a really good running back. And the one thing that Tootin had problems with in college was holding on to the football. And apparently, in his first two OTA sessions, he's fumbled the ball a lot. And if you can't hold on to the rock, you ain't going to play in the NFL no matter how explosive you are. You can't turn the ball over. I mean,
Amen. Yeah.
Tootin, I do like him. I do like him. I think he's good. He could be explosive, but until something happens with those other two guys, I dropped him. I do like that kid from Washington, though. I know you probably didn't get to the end. He's my honorable mention. Corset from. I think he's just a better player than Brian Robinson. I've never been a big Brian Robinson fan to begin with.
Mm. There's a lot of hype around Brian Robinson up until he got shot in the stomach leading into his rookie season, man. And then he missed, what, 4 or 5 weeks? Miraculously, the guy got back on the field after like 5 weeks. But yeah, it didn't start off the way that it was anticipated. He was a really highly touted player coming out of college. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be one of the better running backs in the NFL. Hasn't gotten there yet, man. And you're right about one thing. You drop the football, you're going to find your way on the bench. That's for damn sure. And that's the one thing I like about Kyle Monangai, man. I don't know, it
Yep.
was like 700 and something carries without a fumble. It's quite impressive, man. So yeah, let's dive right into Ben Johnson, man, because we're seeing a lot of stuff. The Chicago Bears themselves keep posting, and then Chicago Sports Network also keeps posting. You know, the new network that hosts the White Sox and the Bulls. They keep posting a lot of,
CHSN.
yeah, they keep posting a lot of stuff about Ben Johnson as well. One thing that I did share today, man, that I really, it was kind of funny. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm still thinking of trying to process this. Did you hear his response to the tush push question?
I did.
Yeah, that was like,
I like
I,
explosive plays.
yeah, yeah, hey, you ever seen an explosive play come from a tush push? Yeah. The guy goes, I've seen that reporter, man, had some guts. He was not willing. He was not looking to make Ben Johnson and make it easy on Ben. He's like, I've seen touchdowns come from the tush push. He's like, yeah, yeah, I like explosive plays. I think he was nice, man. I think Ben Johnson wanted to say more than he did, to be honest with you.
Did you catch that reporter on the hot mic on the way out?
No.
Uh, they caught him on the hot mic, and Ben Johnson said, "All right, good night, everybody," and walked out. And the reporter goes, "I really love that guy." I was like, "All right, he's winning over the media."
Yeah. Well, and you know what, man? He's already doing things that we've just never seen a coach do before, and well, at least not for a long time for this organization, man. He's just honest. He's outright. He's forthcoming. He doesn't really. He's transparent. You know what I mean? Ben
Yeah,
Johnson is just Ben Johnson. But the one thing that I wanted to say, man, that he's been so far that we can certainly say another former coaches in Chicago haven't really been to this point, Sean, is angry. And
Yeah.
the word used was agitated when he was asked about it. And he said he needs to do a better job of hiding his body language, but I don't think so at all. And
No.
you guys beat this up a little bit last night. This isn't a Mike Ditka type coach, but it's very apparent when he's in charge, as he was not for the Detroit Lions. He wants this thing to be perfect, man. And it pisses
Yeah.
him off when stupid mistakes are made, because it was reported that yesterday during practice, Cole Kmet lined up on the entire wrong side of the line. And the word that was used was Ben Johnson snapped. So
Hmm.
how do you feel? How do you feel about a Chicago Bears head coach, Sean, being
Man,
described as snapping?
you know what? It right now, it really seems after just 3 days of OTA that he leads practice with an edge. He seems to be bringing a no nonsense, demanding approach that is going to set the tone for a tougher, more disciplined locker room and play on the field under his leadership. I like that. Here we go. The first thing he said, these guys are going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think he set that tone here in the first 3 days. He's reinforcing that idea. And hey, I told you it's going to be uncomfortable here. Let's get this right. He strives for perfection. He seems, and this is one of the things they said, it seems as though he strives for perfection and he seems to be a perfectionist. If that rubs off on this team, man, we're going to be in for a lot of good Sundays, disciplined Sundays, not a lot of penalties, guys being in the right positions, making the right moves. I'm liking everything I see through only 3 OTAs, so I don't want to get crazy, but it definitely does seem like he has a new intensity, a focus, and he's rubbing it off on this roster. And good for him, good for the Bears, good for us, because I've said this before, us Bears fans, we've suffered enough, and it's time that this thing gets turned around for us. I'm tired of holding my head down between my legs on a Sunday.
Yeah, and he comes off to me very meticulous. He's got a fine attention to detail, and I
Yes.
think to see a report that says he snapped on Cole Kmet for lining up on the wrong side of the line on only the second day, Sean, also makes me believe he's not very tolerant. I mean,
Yep.
mistakes have to end, and they have to end quickly. So, where you saw Matt Eberflus kind of almost leisure with the guys that were doing the wrong thing, there was a very long leash. It felt like nobody was afraid to mess up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
correct.
even the Tyreek Steven during the Washington game last year, man. Stevenson's over on the sideline. The last play of the game's occurring. He's not even facing the play, and he gets a 1/2 suspension. I mean, didn't that feel to you like a little bit of a joke? Like, what
Yeah,
kind
I
of
thought he should
message
have.
is this sending?
Yeah, I thought he should have been suspended for that game, whether it hurt the team or not, because you have to have accountability, which it seems already through 3 days of OTAs, there is going to be accountability at Halas Hall, and it is something that wasn't here. I mean, honestly, number one, to not notice that and not call a timeout on that play is one thing, but then to not reprimand and hold the player accountable for essentially costing your team a football game and saying, "Oh, we're just going to put you on the bench for a half and you come back and play football." I thought at that time it was ridiculous. I still think it was ridiculous. I mean, regardless of what anyone wants to say, he cost the team. He cost the team the football game. That whole thing. And not to mention, you had, I think it was Jalen Johnson who was screaming for the timeout. He was like, call timeout, call timeout. And the coach didn't even recognize one of his star players calling that out from the sideline because they obviously weren't set. So these are the things, like, I'm so glad that we're over that era. And it does look like you just said, this guy is very meticulous. He seems precise, very detail orientated. These mistakes, I don't believe we'll be seeing in the 2025 season for the Chicago Bears. I don't think it's going to be perfect. And you heard this already. If we get into the Caleb Williams stuff just a little bit, Caleb Williams is having problems a little bit with the cadence, pre-snap stuff. These things are going to happen. It's a young offense. I think they'll grow and it'll get better. And I don't want to draw too much into what is it, May 22nd. I'll start drawing more into it, say August 31st, if this stuff is still happening ahead of the home opener. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kyle's been preaching it a lot on here. Yeah, you expect the bumps in the road. You knew things weren't going to be perfect coming out the gate, and especially not on day two of OTAs. Ben Johnson's going to throw a lot at these players, man. It's very different. And on top of as much as he throws at him, he's going to expect him to get it right. So I do think Sean, like just mentioned, the accountability. You have to expect these mistakes, especially the blatant mistakes, like lining up on the wrong side of the line, which is surprising to even hear from a veteran player like Komet, man. But I think the big thing too, man, is like I said, it's not even just about discipline and or the reprimand that comes with. It's about just calling a guy out in front of his team. That was the thing that the players mentioned last year is like the coaches were afraid to coach players hard in front of the like he said remember
Yeah,
I think it was Martellus what no what's the Mercedes Lewis was the player who said
yeah,
like even if you're the oldest guy on this roster and he knew while he was saying that he was the coaches can't be afraid to lay into you, man. And I think that's one of the bigger things in the NFL, man. And I can't really prove this or quantify it, but I think that's the worst thing for a player, man. When you're going through that tape on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day, I think they're off Monday. That Tuesday, you're going through the film from the game previous, and you do something stupid, and they're putting that on the jumbo screen in front of the other 52 players. That's got to be a shit feeling, man. And I have no doubt now that Ben Johnson is not going to be afraid to do that, and he's gonna call people out. He's gonna make it public. He's gonna make you want to not make mistakes, regardless of, like I said, the discipline or the reprimand. He's gonna make it embarrassing for these guys when they do something stupid like lining up on the wrong side of the line. Man, that's very clear. He sent that message very early.
yeah. And that's like Crooked Commish says here. It's good to have other players see Cole Komet get chewed out. They know it can happen to that guy. It will happen to me if I screw up. And
Exactly. Set the precedence.
yeah, and Crooked, I agree with you 100%, man. Like this is something we've all been asking for, and I mean, it's the talk of the town. Any podcast, any show you look, everyone is flabbergasted, jaws on the ground at what is happening in Chicago and Ben Johnson, and and I do like what you said, Brandon. I love the transparency. His press conferences have been rather enjoyable. Like,
No, no, it's a blast to watch. And Dustin said it best, man. And you notice it more and more since Dustin mentioned to me. I almost can't unsee it. He's got a psycho in him, man. I mean, when he was asked by the reporter, like, you seem to appear agitated on the sideline during practice, he just had that smile. And it's like, oh, there's something dark inside this dude, man. Like, he almost, I don't know, it seemed like he takes pleasure in like the fact that people are noticing like I don't fuck around, man. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I don't settle for less. And he kind of smirks as if like, yeah, and the next guy who does the next dumb thing is going to get the same fucking results, man. I mean, and he's like, "Oh, did you notice?" But very much facetiously admitting that like he was purposely wearing that on his sleeve. He
yeah.
wanted his players to understand that it's not enough. You got to do better. And Sean, like I said, this isn't very different from some of the NFL coaches that have existed in this league, but it is for a Bears fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
it
see
it
the
it it
guys.
really is.
Yeah, we see the guys. We saw the Mike Ditka 40 years ago, but you see these guys like the Mike Tomlins and I don't know, the Bill Cowers, the coaches throughout the existence of the NFL that you were kind of afraid of, and you weren't even a player on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Remember the spit falling out of Bill Cowers' mouth when you did the wrong thing
yeah.
as he yelled at you on the bench? I mean, we have
I
one of
love
those
Bill
guys. It
Cowher.
feels like, man, and that's why I put on this thumbnail, guys, a leader of Ben, because my biggest concern for Ben Johnson, as you knew, Sean, was is he the same guy as Mike Vrabel, who was available to the Bears during the offseason, or at least available as a potential candidate. And Ben Johnson is very much coming off to me like a leader of men. I mean, he seemed so quiet and timid when I watched him in Detroit, but he never had to be this guy, and that was my concern. We never saw him do
Yeah,
it. Can he be the leader of men that I want him, that what the Bears fans expect of him when these guys do things like Tyreek Stevenson did last year? And he has shown us in 2 days, Sean, he is going to very much hold you accountable. So
yeah.
I'm
And you know
excited,
what?
man.
we're going to get to see it again next week because the Bears will be back at OTAs on the 27th through the 30th, and then the 9th through the 11th with the rookies only, and then the last mini camp ahead of training camp will be I can't see it.
Yeah, the first
June
Nate
3rd.
Davis sighting.
What's that?
See, you said mandatory. I said maybe the first Nate Davis sighting for whatever
Yeah,
team it
and
is he plays for.
I have to double check this, but it says mandatory June 3rd through to the 5th. I think that's supposed to be July. I think I misappropriated that. So and that could be wrong too. I have to double check that. They do have 3 mini camps left though. So we're gonna get to see a lot more of this. And hopefully, we get to see Luther Burden start getting acclimated. I'm starting to get a little worried. Soft tissue injuries held him out of this OTAs. He's got another one next week, opportunity to get back on the field. I know it's still early, but it's not something you like to see from a guy who is drafted and trying to get acclimated to the NFL, a new playbook, his new teammates, for him to not be out there. We expected this with Colston Loveland, so that's not a surprise. But Luther Burden, again, misses practice. He missed time with the rookies originally. I know he came back on the last day, but now it seems another soft tissue injury. Hopefully, again, he'll be back next week in just 5 days from now when the Bears pick up OTAs once again. So,
Yeah, and it's no secret, man, that a rookie needs as much offseason as possible. You don't want to see,
yes,
especially a guy in such a physical role like a wide receiver. Soft tissue issues are a problem.
yeah,
They're tough to heal. It's tough to recover from those. You got to literally take some time off, take some weight off, and it can be a lingering process too. So yeah, this is twice now we've gotten a report from an injury that sidelined Luther Burden, guys. Like you said, Sean, already, you've got Colston Loveland, who's not really participating. You don't want your second pick in the draft to have this same problem, man. These guys need to see as much exposure as possible before the season starts, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. As good as Colston Loveland might be, as high as he was drafted, no rookie should miss an off season, man. I mean, you need these guys to be
yeah,
on the field. And especially where Ben Johnson's implementing a brand new offense,
yes.
you want this guy to be a part of that, man. You want him to be comfortable with this offense
And
when the season starts because a rookie's already behind the rest of the veterans in this league, man.
yep.
You can't have him be any further behind when he's not even when he's not there for OTAs and rookie mini camp and all those things, man.
Yeah, I mean, Zacchaeus maybe getting the leg up here, in that slot position, and Burden can't get out, at some time here
Especially if
soon.
Cole Kmet's lining up on the wrong side.
Again, excuse me. Again, it's early. The first time they're installing this, again, we talked about this last time. I'm barely there. This is an intelligent group of players on the offensive side of the ball. I do expect them all to catch up to where they're supposed to be as time goes on. First install, now they're going to say, okay, now we did it. They got a week to review. They jump back. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say next week when they're back at OTAs, we're going to hear some better things, because
Yes,
I'll be honest, I didn't like a lot of things I heard
no, and
coming
I was
out of
just gonna
the 2
say,
days.
and none of the things that I've read, Sean, concern me. That's the thing is, there was a lot of mistakes made on a lot of players' parts, but especially Caleb Williams. You just read me some of those reports. I mean, it's all ugly. There's
Yeah.
nothing good about it. But the point, I think, not with the hire of Ben Johnson, the thing that you want to see is not necessarily that they're like mistakes are going to happen, and you want them to happen early, right? You want them to happen now, as opposed to in the
Yeah.
middle of your season. But you want to see progress. So the next time these guys come out for OTAs, you want to hear Ben Johnson, the reporters, these sideline reporters saying it was a clean day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No mistakes. Caleb only had 1 or 2 incompletions. The passes looked good. The pocket looked clean, even though these guys aren't playing real physical football right now. But yeah, I think the whole idea of how we're going to really the early impression we can make of Ben Johnson is it improving week by week? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's going to be key for us to see as these weeks go by. Hey, really quick, Daniel Jeffries. Last week, Brandon and I did this. I had the Lions at 11-6. He had them at 10-7. He had the Queens at 8-9. I had the Queens at 6-11. I had the Packers at 6-11. I don't remember what you had. I forgot to write that
8
down,
and
Brandon.
9. I had them
8-9.
tied. Or
And
no, no,
then
no. I had the Bears and Packers tied at
at
9
10
and
and
8.
7. At
at
9 and
9
8.
and 8.
Okay. At 9 and 8. And then I had the Bears at 10 and 7. I had the Packers at 6 and 11. He had the Bears at 9 and 8, 9 and 8. So we early, way too early predictions, Daniel. We had
The
the
Lions
Lions
winning the division.
unfortunately winning their fourth gosh darn NFC North title.
Yeah, but I
But
did have the
no,
Packers. I did have the Packers and Bears tied one game behind the Lions, which wouldn't exclude them out of a playoff spot potentially.
yeah,
So we'll see how the NFC fares. We know the NFC's not usually the better conference in the NFL, so it's not rare, man, that a team in the NFC has a 9 and 8 record or a 10 and 7 record and still makes a playoff seed, man. So we'll see. That's the hope, right? But yeah, I do think, and listen, man, the records you just pitched. I mean, we kind of agreed that all three of these teams outside of the Bears regress while the
yeah.
Bears improve. So that's the big thing, man. Is the Bears can the Bears start to hang with these guys and compete with them and be there towards the end? You know, can they be um I don't know what word to use. Can we take them seriously towards the finish line? You know what I mean? Is this a team that's going to at least be in the running?
Yeah, I think it's very important, and I know we're talking on May 22nd about something that's going to happen in September, but I think it's very important for the Chicago Bears to nail these OTAs, get into training camp, and come out and at least hopefully be able to make a statement against Minnesota. Because regardless of what we think about Minnesota from inside of our hearts, that defense is going to be really good, and it's going to be a stout test on opening day for the Bears, no matter how we look at it. I know we got a lot of playmakers. We're going to have a lot of people out there, but Brian Flores knows how to draw up a defense. Him and Ben Johnson have a lot of history. There is a slight advantage because, we talked about it last week. There might be some differences between what he did with the Lions and what he has here with the Bears, but that's going to be an interesting matchup. And everything that they do from this OTAs all the way through is going to have a lot of impact on that day. So,
Well, and the thing I can't stress enough about the projections in this Bears team's record is the coaching staff is new, the system is
yeah,
new, the offense is new, the defense is new, right? They're implementing new systems, guys. The one thing that remains the same from the prior seasons in which the Bears just didn't do a very good job is Ryan Poles. So if
yeah.
this record does not improve, if you're talking about a 5-6 win team next year,
Ugh.
Ryan Poles will find himself very much on the hot seat, guys. You're not. This is not going to reflect on Ben Johnson. It's not going to reflect on Caleb Williams. I mean, if this team comes out flat, you got to think they're going to start. I mean, like Ben Johnson wanted alignment, so it's going to be up to these guys to win some football games because you might be doing this all over again, man. Where the head coach remains the same and the quarterback's here, but now the GM's on his way out the door, and then you hire a new GM. The new GM didn't hire the coach or draft the quarterback. You know what I mean? This revolving door needs to stop. This cycle has to stop, and it has to stop this year by at least getting guys 8 or 9 wins. If you're not
I think
somewhere in that range, Ryan Poles is in trouble because the results are still not there, and this guy's been doing it for
now,
4 years now.
now as we say that though, as we sit here on May 22nd, we think that what he's done has been enough. He's loaded up the offense. He's reshaped the offensive line. He may not have all the depth pieces that we want him to have, and the roster still may shape up to have some pretty good depth pieces as these coaches coach these young guys up, like the Amegadjies, the Trapilos, the
The
Zay
Austin
Frazier's.
Bookers,
Yeah, the Bookers, like these guys with the quality depth may be there. We may not see it now, but what I'm saying is we cannot fault Ryan Poles for not doing his job because he got Roman Dunze here, he got Colston Loveland here, he got Tooney here, he signed Drew Dahlman, he got Ben Johnson, he brought in Dennis Allen, he brought in an offensive line coach and a defensive line coach that have 90 years of experience together to help coach these guys up. He brought in Al Harris. He brought in Antoine Randall. I mean, everything the fans asked him to do, he did. Like he like it almost like we
yeah, but
emailed him and he was
you
like, "Oh,
know,
these are all good ideas."
Sean, that the coaches will have excuses. Like Ben Johnson's a first-year head coach. This is a roster he's never worked with. This is a system all these players are learning for the first time. The scapegoat will be Ryan Poles, and the reality is, man, this is a very unforgiving business, and the hourglass
Yeah.
was flipped The day that Ryan took the job, if you're going into your fourth year and you still haven't come up with even a close to 500 record, man, I mean, it's not good. And to be honest with you, Sean, this is usually how it goes. Somebody becomes the result of it, and somebody's scapegoat in determination. And if the Bears have to please their fans by firing Ryan Poles, or even if it's Ben Johnson who says like this something just didn't work here and it needs to change. If it's Ryan Poles, that's what the Bears are going to do, because I
Yeah.
don't think you're going to move on from Ben Johnson or Caleb Williams after Caleb Williams' second season and Ben Johnson's first full season as a head coach.
Anthropology.
Poles is the
Welcome.
only guy who's been here through all of the losing seasons, so he'd be the first guy you hold accountable for it, man.
Have you ever seen Anthropology here before? 2000.
No, man. Let's give him.
No.
Let's hit him
Hey,
up.
hey,
Thanks for
thanks for
joining us,
joining us.
Anthropology
Yeah,
2000. I'm just gonna call
thanks
you
for joining
Anthropology.
us tonight, man. First time viewer. And the 15 and 36 here, I'm going to answer that because I mean, Brandon will tell you, I have not always been a Ryan Poles defender. I've actually held him accountable for a lot of things that have happened here. But when you watch the evolution of what he's done, coming in with the 29th overall roster in the NFL, to flipping this entire roster, stripping the house down to bare bones, rebuilding the walls, getting a brand new roof put on. I mean, he's done all this stuff, and it looks like he has this now set up to win. And sometimes you have to go through these bad seasons. I don't know that I hold him accountable for his first year here. I say, yeah, it was a really bad year, but that year we kind of all knew that was going to happen. We were all sitting around like, man, Bears get 3 wins this year. We're going to be pretty surprised. It wasn't a big surprise. I think last year fans are really pissed because they expected a 10-7 team at worst from the Bears, and it all backfired and everything. The house burned down, so to
Because
speak.
of but Sean, because of the coach Ryan Poles retained, I firmly believe that. I don't know they would have been a 10-7 team. I think they could have won at least 7 or 8 games if they had not moved forward with Matt Eberflus. I will say this, Sean, no matter who you blame for, let's say potentially this upcoming season doesn't go very well, they win 6 games, 5 games again. No matter where you put the blame, even if it's Ben Johnson, it falls to Ryan Poles' lap. I mean, Ryan Poles
Yeah.
hired Ben Johnson. So if you're like, man, I thought this Ben Johnson guy was something, but you can clearly see he's not going to be a good head coach. He sucks. Ryan Poles hired him, so that's 2 in a row, man. No matter where, no matter if this goes bad, man. No matter who you think's at fault, no matter where you think the blame should be, Poles is going to eat it. There's just no doubt about that, man. And I'm not saying, guys, that Ryan Poles gets fired next year if things don't work out. What I'm saying is he is the next name on the list. So whether it be following this 2025 season or thereafter, he's going to be the first guy to go. I believe that. I think he would go before your head coach and your quarterback. But then I said, man, you're starting this process all over again where the new GM comes in and says, well, I didn't hire Ben Johnson. That's not my coach. I didn't draft that quarterback. So you're just doing it over and over again. So I mean, this season is important, Sean. It's important.
I agree.
That's why everybody keeps saying that we're not a Super Bowl team. We're probably not even a playoff team. It's Ben Johnson's first year. There's going to be some No, man. Ryan Poles is not thinking that way. I assure you of this. This team needs to win now. And I don't mean they need to go win a fucking Super Bowl. I mean they need to compete. That's what I mean. They need to be taken seriously. They need to be legit. At the end of the season, 2, 3 weeks left, we need to be questioning, is this Bears team going to make the playoffs? Can they win the 2 of the next 3 and make you know what I mean? They have to be a dog in the fight, man. Because if they're
Now,
not,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because Roman brings up a good point. He says Ryan Poles will have a longer leash than you think because of ownership and loyalty. But don't you think that his lease on life got re-upped maybe a year or two because Ben Johnson's a new hire? And you say, hey, I need a year or two with this guy to make this work. Do you think that's a
well,
reality or a
two,
possibility?
two, two things. One, I don't know if I agree with you, Romy. My issue with that statement is Kevin Warren seems to be very different from the presidents that were formerly on this running this football team. Kevin Warren seems to be in George McCaskey's ear. I think Kevin Warren is the influence that's changed George's behavior. So like Ryan Poles probably wanted to fire Matt Eberflus halfway through the season, but guys, we know for 100 years George McCaskey wouldn't do that. I think Kevin Warren is the guy that's pushing him over the edge on these decisions that we're just not familiar with when it comes to the Bears. So if Kevin Warren isn't happy with Ryan Poles, how much pull does that have? I don't know. And that's strange to say because Ryan Poles, oddly enough, hired his fucking boss and Kevin Warren, which doesn't make sense either. But
Ass
then,
backwards in Chicago.
yeah, and then I another thing, man, is why, and I don't know, I might be uh, prepping a plate that I'm going to eat later on, but why is Ryan not extended? This is when Ryan Pace hired a new coach and John Fox, or no, and Matt Nagy, he got a 3-year
I thought
extension, I
Poles
believe.
did get a little extension. Did
I
he?
don't think so. Did he,
I'm
man?
looking it up right now.
Last I thought we were still asking that question. But and I would imagine that he will, man. I mean, if he doesn't, if he did already, then I don't know how. We must have done a few podcasts about that, man. I don't know how I'm forgetting that, but
Yeah, he did. He did. He
okay.
did. Yeah, it
How many
says
years?
Ryan Poles. That I can't talk. Ryan Poles received a contract extension with the Chicago Bears, aligning his contract with new head coach Ben Johnson through 2029. The Bears
Oh, he
extended
got
Poles for
damn, yeah,
5 years, showing
he
faith
got
in
a
his
5-year
ability to lead.
extension.
Yeah, and that
So
was
yeah, I
reported
mean,
by
you're right.
Currently.
That's committal, man. I mean, that means
Yeah.
that no matter how Ben Johnson's first couple of years go, you're probably going to see Ryan Poole sticking around. But Sean, let me ask
But
you
you can
this.
still fire a guy, right? You can still fire.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you would maybe 3 or 4 years in that contract, but you're not going to fire him today. You're not going to fire him next year. You're probably not going to fire him after 2026. But let me ask you this, man. If Ryan Poles still does not provide results, and I'm going to say Ryan Poles because he's the only thing that's continued through this losing Bears team, right? Through this disastrous couple of seasons, do you want Ryan Poles to stick around? Like if this Bears team comes in the next season and we're all saying, and then we've lowered our expectations, guys, after last year when we all got duped. So you just read my projection for the Bears is 9 wins. If you're falling into 5-win seasons, I mean, like anthropology might be making a good point here, man. It's about the overall record when it's all said and done. And is the Bears organization going to look at Ryan Poles like, dude, it just does not improve. It never has. No matter who you draft or who you hire to run this football team, it still sucks. And like I
Yeah, I
said,
mean,
you have to wonder,
Erica's
man, is this a problem? Are the Bears hiring bad football coach? Like, let's say just hypothetically, Ben Johnson wasn't the guy. He ends up being, a failing head coach. Are the Bears consistently hiring the wrong guy, or are the Bears making the guy worse than he was?
That's what I mean. Like with Ben Johnson, this is the guy. This is the guy that everybody wanted. You know, it would suck if it didn't work out. So far, 3 days through OTAs, it looks like we might have found the right guy. I don't know, but
It feels different, that's for sure.
it does feel a
As
lot
we
different.
talked about already, man. He's not the same as Eberflus. That's very apparent.
And Erica says
And
if they win less than 7 games, she's on the old heave ho train as well. And she thinks
I
that she
just,
says that Warren despises losing. So I doubt Poles will be back in 2026.
yeah,
So
Warren likes making money, and a losing team ain't doing the best that I mean, the
I
Bears are always
like
going to make
this.
their money, but they could make a lot more if they were a
I
potential
like
Super
this
Bowl winning
idea by
team.
Illinois Jones here, Brandon. I think bringing in maybe the Eagles head scout to take over the GM wouldn't be phase anyone. Poles have one good trade, and his drafts have been average at best. I would take the Eagles head scout. I think I'd be okay with that.
Like I said, I think it just begs the question: if this team continues to kind of landslide, or if at least isn't going up, man, who do you hold accountable first?
I would say Poles because it's going to come down to these players that he drafted. If you're installing what Ben Johnson wants to do and the players can't execute, well, these were the players that were brought here by the GM, so it would have to fall at Poles' feet. And you were talking earlier about that look, that evil look that he gives.
The
If you
smile,
go,
the Ben
yeah,
Johnson smile, yeah, the
yeah,
Dexter smile. Yeah, that guy's
yeah.
murdering people in his days. He's got some
If you go,
psycho in there, man.
if you go back and look when they were talking about those running backs, remember I said I was reading the body language and it looked like Ryan Pohl or Ben Johnson was upset that they didn't get a running back. When he said, "Oh, the board just didn't fall my way," go back and look at that interview. Ben Johnson gives him one of those looks. I was thinking about that since you said that earlier. Like he gave him one of those psycho looks. Like who didn't want a running back? They didn't fall to us. I don't know that whole little sequence right there has always been a little off to me. But
Sean, we got over 50 in the chat right now. So I just want to give a thanks, guys, to everybody who's watching this, everybody who's joining us in this conversation. Illinois Jones, Erica, Ron, Anthropology, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. Thanks for joining us. Keep the chat coming, guys. We love to have conversations with you more so than just amongst ourselves. And yeah, this is the 9:30 thing, man. Like our 11:30 doesn't draw this crowd, man. But and
Maybe
thanks for everybody and
9:30
anybody who's new in here, guys. Please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, guys. We do 4 shows a week. So if you like the content you're seeing now, notify
Hey,
yourselves whenever the next one comes.
Jason Choi said, just stumbled across this pod. Not too bad. Bear down. Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Jason.
man. Yeah,
Is he
stick
new?
around. Hit that like
Sean?
and subscribe.
I think
He is
Jason.
new.
I think Jason deserves something. That's for you, Jason. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I hope you stumble upon us again, sir.
He must have missed me shit on myself without knowing that Ryan Poles got extended 5 years just 10 minutes ago, man. That's all right. Moving on. Yeah, I don't know, man. And listen, I hate even having this conversation because we're talking about the potential. Yeah, Ron, here we go again. We're talking about the potential of the Bears having a bad year.
Jason,
I don't like even.
Thank you. He just
Thanks,
subscribed.
Jason.
We really appreciate you, bro, man. Thank you so much.
That's a Bears fan at heart.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you, Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason, if you have anything you want to talk about, please throw it in the chat, man. And yeah, like I said, Sean, I don't know if I want to have this conversation about the Bears being a losing team under Ben Johnson's tutelage. So I think hypothetically speaking, if the Bears were to not move this thing forward and start to look up, man, I think Ryan Poles is the first guy to go. I don't think that you can hold Ben Johnson that accountable after his first year as a head coach if things don't go the best. But somebody's going to be looked at, right? If this team is still pitching 5-win seasons, somebody's under the microscope. It's got to be Ryan Poles.
And Howie's bringing the fire. He brought it last night. He's bringing it today.
Yeah, Howie's been killing it. Howie's been on fire.
He said, no GM is perfect, but you have to be honest. Stop the blanket soft comments. He did a good job, or fire him. Have names if you want him replaced. Rick Smith, Nate Davis, Jonah Davis, or Jonah Jackson were our mistakes. Now, Howie, I understand. Trust me, because I mean, we can go back to shows in the past. I have been probably the hardest of anybody on this channel on Ryan Poles. I went off on him. But you have to call a spade a spade. And
that was a good rant too. That was a guy. I made a short on that rant.
Yeah, like what he's done now. I mean, look at what he's done for this offense. He's rebuilt this line. He looks like a GM. He was a GM learning on the job. We all knew this guy was a rookie. He had no experience. He's learning from his mistakes. It seems like he has, the way he's rebuilt this line. And I'm with you on Jackson. I've been the hardest on this channel on Jackson. I think it was a mistake when they signed him, but Ben Johnson wanted him. We like Ben Johnson. We believe in Ben Johnson. We have to believe in this. And maybe he got the extension through 2027, but he got us Ben Johnson. He got us Caleb Williams. He got us DJ Moore. He got us Roma Dunze. We can always look at the bad, and trust me, there's a lot of bad. I can rumble off as much bad as I do good, but the good now is starting to overtake the bad, and you have to shuffle past those bad years, put those in your rearview mirror, and say, look at what we have in front of us now. We have a fantastic coaching staff. We have a fantastic roster. Let's continue to build off this positive and let Ryan Poles continue to cook, because I think he has. I think he has.
Well, there is the Jonah Jackson thing, Sean. I did want to talk about a little bit because I read today that another non-participant in these OTAs has been Ryan Bates, and this was another trade. This was another Ryan Poles trade. Now this guy's not participating right now. We're talking about the potential of Jonah Jackson's injury prone. It's not good, man. This guy that you traded for a 5th round pick to be your potential starter at center didn't work out there. When he actually had to play guard, the position he was more comfortable with, he got injured. And here we are in another year. and the guy's not even dressing, man. This is a fucking problem. So
Yeah,
the hope here is, guys, and this will transition right into our next thing from Ben Johnson, guys, because this is one thing I really wanted to do this show about. We've talked a lot about this, and I don't feel you've ever really gotten a good conversation about it, man. Is guys like Luke Newman that Ryan
yeah,
Poles drafted this season out of Michigan State. He was what, a fifth round pick, right? So I mean, you're not talking about a guy whose teams were fighting over a first round pick, but
I'm with you,
the
Erica.
difference that I think we need to see in this organization, because I do like the coaching staff that they've put together here, Sean. The difference I think we need to see is going to be development. And we can talk all day about uh, uh, who uh, we can talk all day, man, about the depth this team doesn't have. That's the thing that we said for a long time during the offseason. We
Yeah,
wanted to see depth. We wanted to see the Bears sign at least, what was it, nine? Ben Johnson, I think, said nine quality offensive linemen, but it doesn't always come through first and second round picks, guys, or 60 to
right.
$70 million players. What it comes through is developing the players that you draft in late rounds, developing those guys that were already on this team from last year. That's what I need to see this coaching staff do, because I've said this again. I'm going to say this again, like I said on Monday's show, Sean. The Eagles, the Steelers, the Ravens, the teams that are drafting consistently and doing it well, teams that are drafting starters to sit behind their starters, are not drafting fifth round pick players as starters. These guys are not starters when they're drafted in the fifth and sixth round.
Yeah,
These guys are potential NFL players, that the same as Austin Booker, the same as Kiran Amegadjie. These are guys who need molding, they need development, and they need to get better rounded at the position they play. But these teams, every time a player goes down on that Eagles team, we see the next guy come in, and we're all saying the same thing. How the fuck do these guys have a starter sitting behind a starter at every position on their team? Because they make them that way, man. They develop and mold these guys to be these players. So when you're talking about the Austin Bookers on this football team, you're talking about the Karan Amagaji. This is where I think the difference is going to be here now, Sean. Not just in Ben Johnson. This
yeah,
is what I wanted to talk about most, guys. The developmental coaches that he surrounded himself with. Not only did he get guys that were previously head coaches like Dennis Allen, a guy who had head coaching interviews like Eric Bieniemy, a guy who was an offensive coordinator and Dan Rochar just to be his offensive lineman. These guys develop young players. So I'm going to go over a list real quick here, Sean, to prove what I'm talking about. Like I said, teams like the Eagles who have starters sitting behind
yeah.
starters, but they were drafted in the fifth round. So you're wondering, how did no other team know about this guy? The Eagles always seem to find these guys. No, they're not just drafting gems, man. They're drafting coachable players that they have the ability to turn into better players. So Dan Rocher, who Ben Johnson hired as offensive line coach, was the offensive line coach of the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to give you some names of some guys that he coached and where they were drafted. He drafted, I believe all pro, but definitely Pro Bowler Max Unger. Okay.
Uh huh.
This a player on this, I think it was their center, right? The Saints
Yeah.
second rounder. Okay. So not a mid round pick,
Not a
but
bad
not a
pick.
first round player. He coached Teron Armstead, tackle, third round Pro Bowl. Okay. He coached Larry Warford, third round Pro Bowl. That's a guard center. So that's three
Hmm.
players, third round, second round, that Dan Rochar coached on this Saints team
Saints team.
that were not potential, you know, Noah Sewell or Penny Sewells. These guys were not, Trent Williams. These guys were drafted in early mid rounds, and he got Pro Bowl seasons out of these guys because he developed them, and a coach who got more out of a player than was projected, right? That's what development is. The Bears coaching staff for the last 20 years has not done this, guys. When you draft these guys in the mid round, we don't, they go to they either cut and sign to the practice squad, or they're healthy scratches during the season and we never fucking see them again. And that's what I'm tired of, man. I'm tired of players that are drafted in our our mid rounds, to just disappear because other teams get talent at in those places. So another coach that Ben Johnson went out and got himself pretty quick was Al Harris. Harris has bounced around the league in a lot of different positions. He was an assistant, so basically like a coach in training for a few NFL teams. But when he finally became the defensive backs coach for the Dallas Cowboys, which is where that's the only team he held this position for, he coached two guys: Deron Bland, who was drafted in the fifth round, who had a Pro Bowl
Yep.
season 2 years ago and led the league in interceptions. He also drafted Trayvon Diggs, who was drafted in the second round, again, not a first round pick, who led the league in interceptions returned for touchdowns. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he had like 4 in a row, like 4 weeks in a row. So I think it's safe to say that Al Harris got the best out of the players he was coaching on that Dallas Cowboys team, right? So a fifth round pick in Deron Bland, who led the league in interceptions. This is what I mean. Player development. And I think Deron Bland only got the starting job because whoever was in front of him was a veteran player, got injured.
Got hurt. Yeah,
This
it was.
this is what I mean. He had a player not just ready to play, not just ready to fill a slot on the roster, man. A player who is a potential starter waiting to happen. This is player development. The coach that most importantly, the coach Sean that I loved for the last 2 years, a coach that he brought with him from Detroit, Antoine
Chicago kid.
Randall. Yes, yes, and he went to Indiana. Yes, Antoine Randall, the former receiver, Steelers receiver in the NFL, but now the wide receivers coach for Chicago Bears. Previously, the receivers coach for the Detroit Lions. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Do you know where he was drafted? This kid just got 160 million fucking dollars.
I was going to say, I think he was a third round pick, wasn't he?
Fourth round pick.
Okay.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just got himself like $170 million contract. He's gone to multiple Pro Bowls. He's probably, at least in fantasy, a top 5 receiver in the NFL, but I would say in reality, a top 10 receiver for sure. Fourth round pick. This is a guy that Antoine Randall coached. Okay. And then you have a first round pick, 7th overall, in Jamison Williams, okay, who was highly touted as the best receiver in his draft class. He played for Alabama in a championship game, had a terrible injury during that game, tore his knee, but he was still a player that you knew was going to get drafted high. However, Jamison Williams started his career, guys, with a knee injury, a PED suspension, and a gambling suspension. Okay.
Yeah.
So clearly a guy who maybe not needed to be developed as a player, but his character development was a major concern, right? And we saw, and I don't know if everybody saw, if you didn't go Google it, there's a play where Jamison Williams does the wrong thing. I think he caused an interception by misrunning a route. And he comes to the sideline, and Antoine Randall puts his finger directly in his face and points to the bench. He yells at him and tells him to go sit the fuck down.
Grabbed him by his jersey.
He clearly became this kid, young kid, right? These are young guys. Became the father figure of this individual. And guess what? Jamison Williams last year had 1,001 yards. So a guy who was suspended, tore a knee, suspended for drugs, suspended for gambling, became a 1,000-yard receiver under the tutelage and the counseling of Antoine Randall. Next, Sean, you know this guy very well because we did this 2 weeks ago on the show. Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah,
the Bears now running back coach who did do some head coaching interviews, guys, in the NFL prior to going back down to the collegiate level at UCLA. Sean, you're aware of the guys that this gentleman's coached. Jamal Charles.
Can I play it really quick? Can I play it really quick?
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
March, nice. Get upfield. Put your eyes up. The Bears ain't got shit to do with you. Pick your fucking eyes up. Hit. Get upfield. Why are you touching the fucking cones? Cones are not moving. Don't touch the cones.
Yeah, I love Bieniemy.
Yeah, we're gonna hear a lot of that this season. I assure you that.
Oh,
and like Dustin said,
what? He's got really quick. Out of all the years, I wish we were in Hard Knocks this fucking year. That would have been amazing, dude.
Yeah, with these coaches, yeah. But just some guys, Bieniemy's coach in his past. Jamal Charles was a third-round pick, as we all know what happened there. If he didn't suffer injuries, he's probably a Hall of Fame player a few years from now. The guy was a multiple Pro Bowl. I think he was an All-Pro running back for sure, right? I think at some point he was the leader in receiving yards and rushing yards, I believe, and I think it was like his second season in the NFL. Third-round pick, ended up being a stud. Kareem Hunt, third-round pick, ended up being a Pro Bowler his rookie season in 2017. So, I mean, these are third-round picks, guys. We're not talking about players who were Ashton Genty, who teams were drooling and fighting over in the draft. I mean, guys who went, I think Kareem Hunt, I believe, was like the 9th running back selected in the draft. So, if you have coaches that can find talent in these guys, like they have in Luke Newman, like they have in Ozzie Trapilo, coaches that can develop these individuals into being starters, whether or not they are the first week they play, that's what the Bears have never had. So we can talk about the depth and say Ryan Poles didn't do a good enough job at getting depth this season. I mean, he didn't. Yeah, sure, he did. He made those moves in trades and free agency and got starters. We don't have enough depth at the offensive line. Well, maybe you do. Maybe because you fucking finally hired the right staff, you finally hired the right coaches under Ben Johnson. Maybe these guys that are sitting on the bench and are projected to be sitting on the bench are going to be starting caliber players when their number's called, man. That's what I want to see from this. That's
They
what's
better
important.
win
And
some
then
games.
one more, man. Jeremy Garrett spent last season as the defensive line coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's your current defensive line coach for Chicago Bears. So you're going to see Austin Book. You want to see Austin Booker improve and Javon Dexter improve. This guy, he coached Joshua Hines Allen, a first rounder, but well, guys, we all saw the production there. He's an incredible player who's a double-digit sack guy. He did coach Trayvon Walker, who was the first overall pick in the draft a few years ago. But when Trayvon Walker was drafted, he had 3 sacks. Last
Yeah.
year, when Jeremy Garrett was his coach, he had a career high 10.5 sacks. And then he coached Miles Garrett, who I believe was the first overall pick in the draft. He coached Miles Garrett, but he did coach Miles Garrett during his best season in 2020 when he had an all-pro season, a Pro Bowl, and was the league leader in sacks. So if you think that there's something that Jeremy Garrett can probably pass along to the guys that are playing on this Bears team, I would say that I agree. And my point, Sean, is we don't see player development, and we don't see it in this city. We don't see it. The Cubs are starting to do it now too. We're starting to see, but
Yeah.
the Bulls don't do it. I want to see coaches that get the most out of the players that we don't expect to be studs. That's what good football teams do, man.
Yeah. And Jason Toy here says, I truly believe that's the number one big difference. This year, the elite coaching staff we have. I don't think people realize how good this coaching staff is. It's built for the Bears. And Illinois Joint says the biggest concern he has for him is safety. My biggest concern is still the linebackers on the Chicago Bears. If the safeties stay healthy, I think it's a strength for the Chicago Bears. I still love Kevin Byard. I mean, Byard played all 17 games. I think he's going to be 32 this year, but he didn't show any signs of slowing down. Brisker, I saw Brisker out there practicing today. He's back. He had the concussion helmet on, thank God. But
I think he's going to wear the Guardian helmet the entire season.
he should, and play with his head up, for the love of Christ.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and I'm actually with you, man. I agree. My biggest concern is safety as well. So I feel
Is
you.
it?
I do, and I do
Over
think this though.
linebacker?
What's that?
Over linebacker?
Yeah, it is, man. I think you're very thin at this position. Not only do you have a guy who's potentially going to be injured at some point in the season, I hate to speak that into existence, but the odds that Jaquan Brisker plays a whole year is just not likely, man. But after after him, you have a lot of players. We've mentioned this. We have a lot of
Yeah,
players,
Elijah
but these
Hicks.
guys. My problem with these guys, Sean, is they've existed in the league for a while. So as I just went off on a rant here about player development, I don't know that Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks haven't presented the best football they're going to play in their careers. I will say this, however,
How's the team fit though?
their best undrafted free agent that they signed when the draft ended was Major Burns, and he plays safety, and I'm excited about that kid. I think he
too.
does earn himself a spot on the roster. So again, you can be worried about safety, but it'd be nice to fucking know, man, that if you have a young kid, an undrafted free agent rookie that can make this possibly make this roster, that your coaches can make him an NFL player, man.
Yeah.
It's the result that the fact is there's not just the guys who like the first round guys drafted in the NFL are not the only guys who are NFL players. The rest of them are as well. You just got to get it out of them, man. You got to
Yeah.
make them NFL players,
You
and we
know,
don't do that here.
I think when we talk about this offensive line too, and I meant to say this before you started on this, I think the guy that people are forgetting is Bill Murray. Bill Murray is probably the best backup on this team. If you look at his overall numbers, he was a top 5 guard in the league last year when he played. He will be backing up Jackson this year. He might be replacing Jackson when Jackson gets hurt. So there might not be that steep of a drop off. If you look at Bill Murray's overall grade last year was 82.4. It was 6 out of 136 guards. 85.7 blocking grade was second among 136 guards, and his run blocking grade was 77.3, 15th over 100 out of 136 cards. This guy, for all intents and purposes, could be a very quality backup for the Chicago Bears. While we're worrying about developing all these
I think he
players.
is. I think you
Yeah,
just proved that he is. He's a really
yeah.
good. You're not gonna.
You're not
You're
gonna
not
have
gonna.
a starter waiting there.
You're not going to have, yeah, right. You're not going to have a Pro Bowl player who's sitting behind. Like I said, you got to get the best out of the guys and have them prepared to be starters in case of injury. But Sean, with the numbers you just pitched off of his performance last year, I say it's a pretty damn good backup. And you know what,
Yeah,
man? I also and he's 29 years old, but he hasn't played a ton of football.
right.
So I also believe that there's more in that kid as well, man. I think that Bill Murray can provide a little more, and I think they might be able to develop him even to a better player. And then you have Luke Newman on the other side, and Luke Newman
Yep.
right now is not just learning from Dan Roshar, he's learning from Joe Tooney, man. I mean,
Yep.
what a
And people,
I mean, if you don't take that for granted, if you don't come into the league and say like I am gonna sponge every fucking thing this guy has to say to me, I'm gonna retain, I'm gonna write down, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna watch the way he plays football, then you're not meant for this league, dude. If
and
you're
people don't forget this about Luke Newman. There is tape. You can Google it, but Luke Newman dominates Michigan. He dominated Mason Graham when they played head to head. I mean, he was pancaking that guy. So this guy, for all intents and purposes, Mason Graham, best defensive tackle in this year's draft, was dominated by this guy. Obviously, he has some deficiencies, but we do have Roshar here to help this kid develop. And I really do. I'm a lot more confident, I think, now, especially when you start looking at a guy like Kiran Amegadjie, who a lot of scouts liked. This wasn't like they just plucked this guy, took him in the third round because they wanted to. There was a lot of talent in there. I question the pick because of how much football time he missed, and I think maybe he slipped, and you could have maybe got him in another round, maybe not a third round, but the third round. But I'm going to tell you this right now: Kiran Amegadjie cannot be another third round mistake.
bust, just
I
say it.
Yes. This guy has to develop into a player that can give the Bears quality play on that
Yeah,
line.
this can't be a Zach Pickens, Valus
No,
Jones project, man.
this cannot. And
and
thank you, Jason. Jason just
and
said y'all are good. Spitting knowledge podcast. Not talking about the same shit everyone else is. I like it. Bear down. Thank you so much,
thank you,
Jason.
Jason.
We really
Appreciate that,
appreciate
man.
that, man.
And one more thing about Luke Newman, man, is this guy was a 6th round pick, and he's in a lot of 6th, 7th round picks. You're always kind of, is this the guy that makes a roster? Is he cut and makes the practice squad? I think Luke Newman is more important to the Bears than we think he is, Sean, because one of their head scouts, the head of their the director of player personnel and their scouting department said, we really liked when he played it. We liked that when he came here in practice for us, we liked the snaps he took at center. I think you might be, I think the vision for him is to be your backup center in case Drew Dahlman gets injured. So
No, who is that? I'm
Luke
sorry, I missed it.
Luke Newman
Oh,
might be a
Luke
lot
Newman.
more important than people think he is because
Yeah.
sure, you've got 100 guards on every football team. Right
Yeah.
now, guys, the Bears don't have a center. I mean, there's nobody to
No.
back this guy
Oh,
up.
wait a minute. You come on, Doug Kramer's here, bro.
Oh, yeah. Only the most famous fumble in one of the most disastrous Bears seasons. Uh, My God, man. And I like Doug
I don't
Kramer,
hate
man.
Doug
He's an
Kramer.
Illinois
I'm not
kid.
hating on
I
Doug Kramer.
I root for Illinois players, man. But I mean, God, and you know what? He was funny. He was actually like given a good PFF grade when he played center that game, but the fumble was so bad we never watched, we never saw him again. And you're wondering, like, was there some potential maybe in there for this kid to play football? But don't give don't give your backup center the ball to carry in the
It
end
was
zone.
cute the first time.
It was cute when Fridge Perry did it.
And yes, Illinois Jones, we talked about this last week. I do believe Hypolite's going to make this team. I think Hypolite.
I think Dennis Allen has a vision for him. I think there's a
Yes.
plan in place
Yes.
here.
There was a plan when they drafted him. I don't think they threw a dart at the dartboard and said, "Oh, we're going to take this guy in the 4th round." Dennis Allen wanted this guy. Hey, I'm not a coach. I'm not a scout. I can only read the tape and read the scouting reports. It's probably not a guy I would have taken, I'm also not an NFL defensive football coach. So I'm going to let the professionals handle it, and I'm going to keep my faith. And then I'm going to watch him on Sundays and maybe rip him apart here on the podcast if
Well,
he doesn't perform up the tier, and then
yeah,
rip
we can all
management
do it together,
completely.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just hip hop anonymous can't do anything out there. But I'll say this, man, if you're drafting a guy, he's a bit of a tweener, an undersized linebacker who's running a 4.39.
Yeah.
There's a plan for him. Like
Yeah. And
that's such a specific skill set for a linebacker. Like to be the size that he is, he's almost the size of a nickel. They're talking about how he could
yeah.
potentially play multiple positions, and he runs a
Reverse Brian Urlacher.
4.39. They had to envision some sort of role that this guy's gonna play, regardless of whether or not he ends up being a good player. You're gonna see him used in some sort of package for Dennis Allen. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about it.
5'11",
And Dennis Allen was
230.
apparently whispering in Brian Pohl's ear, even in the fourth round when this guy was not projected to be drafted. He was projected to be an undrafted player, but
Yeah.
Dennis Allen, by all measures, it was reported. Dennis Allen told Ryan Poles, Ryan Poles said, "Who do you want?" He said, "This is we need a linebacker, and this is my guy. This is the guy I want." So I assure you, there's a plan in place here. I think he's going to be primarily used on running downs in which the Bears think that the opposing team's going to run the football. But think about that, man. I know the kid had I think he had one sack in college, but a 4.39. If you
Yeah.
blitz this guy, you got to think he's getting home. I mean,
And
most
I know
linebackers just can't provide that in the NFL, man.
everyone in the chat might call me crazy. They might for
You're crazy,
saying
Sean.
this. But I'm just gonna keep my eyes on the wild Samoan. Penny Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell. I've always thought that if you couldn't play linebacker, if you look at his tape, first off, if you go to his tape at Oregon, this dude was a stud, like a stud in college. He could get off the ball. He could get
He
after
had the
the
highest
quarterback.
blitz
He
rate
could
in his
tackle
last
run.
year of college. He had the best
Yeah,
blitz percentage in
yeah.
the
He was.
NCAA.
I always thought a smart coach would take this guy and maybe get him and put him on the edge if he couldn't play linebacker in the NFL. And when you look at
You're right,
Noel,
Jason.
when you look at Sewell's size at 6'2", 253, Brandon, what's the size of the defensive ends that Dennis Allen looks for? I mean,
Yeah.
that
Thick
is
guys,
it.
Cam Jordan, lean guys, yeah, guys, and guys
Yes.
that can explode, man. It's a lot about exploding off the line, off the snap, reading the count well, getting off the snap, and yeah, it's just strange to me. Again, Sean, I'm gonna walk the same line I just did. Ryan Poles has drafted so many players, and you just don't hear, I mean, guys, Tyler Scotts, Noah Sewell's, that we just don't hear their name. They're healthy scratches during football games. But who's to say Ryan Poles doesn't still have belief in the guys that he drafted, man? He just maybe thinks the coaches did a shit job in making them football players, man. So
And
a guy like
that's
Tyler Scott, that's another name that I'm sure everybody kind of forgot about since we drafted Luther Burden and brought in Zacchaeus. But you got to wonder, man, these guys, Ryan Poles is very stubborn to move on from his draft picks. I say this time and time again. Velus Jones probably should have been cut after a half a season here. He stuck around for 3 years. You know what I mean? Ryan,
yeah.
even the guys he doesn't draft, the guys he just signs. Nate Davis spent 2 years not showing up, and he was just given a starting job. Ryan Poles, one thing that I've been consistent in criticizing him over, Sean, is he doesn't know when to move on. He holds on to things. He's
And
stubborn. He
I
does.
think
I
with
don't think that he likes to say that he failed, that he
I
was
think
wrong
with Ben
about something.
Johnson though, that could change. But when you look at Tyler Scott, if you put and look, I don't know when you have Zacchaeus, you have DJ Moore, you have Roman Dunze, you have Luther Burden. Who was the other? They signed one more wide receiver besides Duvernay. They signed somebody else, didn't they? Besides Duvernay, too.
Boykin, Miles
Boykin.
Boykin.
So you
Who's like
have all these
6'5",
guys.
220.
Where's your room for Tyler Scott? I mean, is Tyler Scott?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know though. I
I
don't know that Miles Boykin. But listen, I'm going to be
Maybe
honest with you.
Boykin doesn't make the team.
I don't think Duvernay is going to touch this field on offense. I really don't. I mean, he's a return
That could be.
specialist. I
That
don't, I
could
don't
be.
see him. I don't see him impacting the offensive side of football too
I'll tell
much. I
you
don't see
this,
him
man.
contributing.
I loved Tyler Scott coming out of college, dude. He went to that wide receiver university the workouts and the things that he put himself through to get ready for this draft, and then you watch his tape at Cincinnati. How he was, I'm pretty sure he was part of that undefeated the
He was
Cincinnati team. Yeah,
the Desmond Ritter,
yeah.
Tylers. He was the best receiver on the football team the year
I
they
just,
went undefeated.
and this could be just another guy that was underdeveloped, undercoached by the previous regime. That
And
just gets
healthy scratched, Sean. The
healthy
guy
scratches for your
guy was
fourth round
guy
pick.
was sitting, he was wearing the same thing as me on Sundays, man. Like what that's what I'm saying. And you have to think Ryan Poles knew at some point he hired the wrong staff. He fired Matt Eberflus. He didn't want any of these guys to stick around. He humored Thomas Brown by giving him an interview, but let's be honest, that wasn't happening. But maybe Ryan Poles
That's
believes
okay. It's,
I didn't
that's
draft I didn't. Not all these guys I drafted suck, man. I just need a coach who can get the best out of them. So you got to wonder. And Sean, I'm going to say this. So we can. And I'm down to continue to talk about player development. But while we're doing so, a third round pick from last year, like you said, Sean. This is not a guy that Ryan Poles is going to move on from anytime soon. But more importantly, this is a guy that we still cannot give a verdict on. Kiran Amegadjie unfairly missed his entire offseason as a rookie.
correct.
He was injured. He had a really bad showing. What was it, against Minnesota? Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
really bad game against Minnesota. He was torn to pieces for it. All the critics and all the analysts had something to say about it. It was the second time this guy played in the NFL, and he was playing against Greenard and Dallas Turner. I mean,
It
like
was really an
that
unfair
was
position to put him
yeah,
in.
that was not an easy feat. And I want to say this, man. The second day of OTAs, Trapilo played third string is actually what he played. He actually wasn't
Correct.
even second, but Kiran Amegadjie was the starter through the entire second day of OTAs on every snap. And Dan Rocher followed up the practice by saying, "This is a really talented and really fundamentally sound football player. He's really, really good." That's what Dan Rocher said. I don't know if you saw the interview. Did you see him sitting at the table with the water bottles in front of him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he really praised Kiran Amegadjie. Dan Rocher basically said to everybody, I don't know if he's doing this because Ryan Poles wants this to be the narrative, but he basically said to every question that was asked, this guy's a good football player. You haven't seen the best of him yet. And this is my point, Sean. This is what I mean. These guys didn't come in here and immediately write off the players that have nothing but bad performance for this Bears team prior to them being here. They think to themselves, they're challenging themselves to get more out of these guys. The same thing as Luther Burden, right? The
Yeah.
same thing as Caleb Williams. This organization's culture is changing, and the guys who are running it are now challenging themselves to like the Jalen Carter thing, Sean, the Caleb Williams thing. These are guys that this Bears organization 20 years ago would have first. I mean, Jalen Carter was visited with. Brian Poles brought him in here and talked to him. He didn't like the character, but he did bring him in here, regardless of what happened during the accident, the race, whatever, all that shit that happened. Ryan Poles still brought this guy in here to have a conversation with him. Ryan Poles drafted Caleb Williams knowing that the reports were true, that he really didn't want to fucking come
Want to
here.
be in Chicago.
So things are changing, and this team and this coaching staff is embracing the challenge of proving. And you said it earlier today, Sean. Ben Johnson said it. They asked him, how do you feel about the fact that Caleb didn't want to come? How do you feel about the fact that quarterbacks come here to die? You know what he said? I love it
I
because
love
it makes a good story when you can change a narrative.
Yep.
And this, you bring a Luther Burden in here who fell to the second round, was by all means supposed to be a top 10 pick. Nobody wanted to touch the kid because he had some character issues. They questioned his effort when he was on the practice field during the scouting. So the Bears took it upon themselves to say, I don't care what he did. I don't care about his kid. We're gonna make it right. We're gonna make this kid the best football player he can be in the NFL. We're gonna give him the tools he needs to succeed. That's what we're gonna do. We
And
have confidence in ourselves to get the best out of Luther Burden, regardless of what his
and
character issues are or whatever any scout or analyst has to say about him. The same thing exists with Karan Amegadjie. He's done nothing but play bad football since he's gotten to this football team. An injury reoccurred.
not by his own fault though. You know what I mean?
No,
Not,
you know me, I'm a big advocate
yeah.
of Karan. I like Karan. I thought Karan was, when you watch his Yale footage, he's a monster, man.
Yeah.
There's something in this kid, man. There's more in there. You know what I mean? More than what we saw against Minnesota. I mean, come on, dude.
Well,
I
it's a
mean,
really
that's like throwing me out there against Minnesota. His second game, no off season. I mean, you against two of the best pass rushers, especially in this division.
You
I mean,
know,
that's
too.
just a nightmare
You-
waiting to happen, man.
Well,
He was the only guy they had. That's why he played.
I was going to say, too, Brandon, when he was coming into this draft, and if you go look up his draft profile, I believe he was touted Amegadjie as a second round draft pick, and the Bears did get him in the third round. But the other thing that people probably have forgotten, because it's been a year and a half, 2 years now, that this guy has only played left tackle for a very short period of time. He transitioned from being a guard
Yeah,
over to being a
I think a
tackle.
right guard too, wasn't
Yeah, he was a right guard over to left tackle. So he's had a very short period of life, a football life, playing that position. So for him to come here and here, I'm not looking into, again, it's May 22nd. I'm not looking into, oh my gosh, he took all the snaps at left tackle. That's our starting left tackle. I'll say this, it's a story to keep your eye on, because they want Trapilo at left. If they're developing Amegadjie at left and they like what they see, I'm going to throw this out there. And I don't know, you're probably going to tell me that I'm crazy and this isn't going to happen.
John's fucking crazy.
But if they feel like they're okay at this position, is there any chance that maybe Braxton Jones doesn't make this team?
No, he makes the roster. He absolutely makes the roster because
I'm saying, if you're sitting with 3 left tackles, it's not a bad problem to have. Not a bad problem.
no, and Ozzie can play right. So you want Ozzie on the team regardless, because if
Right,
Darnell
that's
Wright
just
suffers an injury, Braxton
Sure.
Jones cannot play right tackle. We know
No,
that. We figured
no,
that
no,
out.
no,
And
no.
that's your problem. That's another problem, Sean. This team has to have extra tackles because the problem they created for themselves is Darnell Wright can't play left. We know that. We know
Yeah.
that. We know that's the case because a couple of people rumored it early in this offseason. It's not happening, guys. Well, if it was going to happen, he was a top 10 pick. If this was going to occur last year when Kiran went down and Braxton Jones had a surgery and Larry Borum was nursing something, you would have seen this transition happen already.
Larry
So the
Borum
fact
on
that
my
it
sheet
didn't
right
happen,
now.
the fact that that didn't happen means that Darnell Wright can't play left tackle, and Braxton Jones, who's
Cannot.
has by all means has not been the best, most elite left tackle in the league. What do most teams do when their left tackle is not elite? They throw him
move
over
him
to
to
the
right.
right side because it's an
Yep.
easier job to do. You're not blocking the quarterback's blind side. Well, they haven't done that with Braxton Jones. Even before Darnell Wright got there, they were not ever considering moving Braxton Jones to the right side of the line, which says to me he can't play that position either. So the Bears put themselves in this position where 2 of your tackles cannot swing. They're going to play the positions they get the position they're in, and that's it.
You at
So you
least
need
have
a
one.
Trapilo. You need a
Yeah.
Trapilo. Or Trapilo,
Illinois
however the
Jones
hell
says
he's.
maybe you could maybe you could use them as trade bait for draft capital. Maybe you bring up a good point. You bring up a good point.
You're not going to get a lot for Braxton only because
Braxton,
I seriously I don't know.
desperate team.
This would a Freudian slip. I almost just called him Saxton Jones. I said the fuck. But you're not going to get a lot for him because whatever team trades for him has to then sign him. So I mean, you know what I mean. You're only going to trade for Braxton Jones if you're without the intent of signing him. You're probably going to trade a 7th-round pick, maybe at best for him. Because if you trade anything more than that, like let's say you trade a 4th-round pick for Braxton Jones, you got to fucking sign the guy. You have to. He's on an expiring contract.
Let's see how Braxton returns from this injury, because we have yet to see him get back on the field. Again, it's May.
Sean, you said something though that triggered a thought in my mind. Kiran Amegadjie, who like I said, Dan Roshar has liked. He started at left tackle today, but at least Dan Roshar is getting to see this kid play, and he's happy. He's happy. Guys, we heard a lot of bad reports even about Caleb Williams today. The one guy that I heard good things about was Kiran Amegadjie. So
100%.
He did play guard. If Jonah Jackson suffers an injury early in this season, is Kiran Amegadjie, who is not a veteran player, guys, but he's more of a veteran than Trapilo and Luke Newman, is he a possible guard on this football team in the future, man? Is Kiran Amegadjie a guy you can slip in the right guy?
I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Trust me. I'm bringing up stuff so we can talk. I don't think
he did say you'd call him crazy.
Yeah, I did. I don't think that he won't be on this team, but he becomes an expendable asset if you're developing 2 other left tackles on your roster.
And
That's
real
all
quick,
I'm gonna say.
once again, Jason, thank you for being here. Howie, thank you for being here, man. Everybody who's in this chat, guys. Illinois Jones, man, as always, very loyal, dedicated. Thanks for being here, man. I think we had Erica in here early. I don't know where Bruce is at, but we're gonna thank Bruce anyways.
Bruce is sleeping. Bruce is
Ron,
sleeping.
he doesn't get to sleep. He doesn't get time off. Ron, everybody in the chat, guys, we appreciate you. You're killing it tonight.
Braxton is a starter, Howie. He definitely is a starter. And I'm gonna say this.
He's
I
gonna
don't
get the
view him-
bank from somebody.
Well, listen, I don't view him as a 5th-round pick anymore. I view him as a 3-year starter for the Chicago Bears. Where he was drafted to me is now irrelevant. I don't view him as a 5th-round pick. I view him as a 3-year starter. He is valuable for the Chicago Bears. He is something, a great insurance policy. Maybe these guys are going to see something. And this is a coaching staff. I'm sorry, this is a coaching staff that'll take Ryan Poles and say, hey, guy, look, I know this is your diamond in the rough, your 5th-round pick that you turn into a starter. This guy's better, and this is the guy we need on the field. I think you'll see that on the Bears. I don't know if Amegadjie or Trapilo are better than Braxton Jones. I know Braxton Jones has a lot of problems with bull rushes. He's going to face a lot of good left tackles. Go look at the schedule.
Well, I'm not trying. I'm not looking at this as glass. I'm not trying to be a glass half empty kind of guy here, man. I'm really not. I don't want to be pessimistic. But another thing that I haven't really heard a whole lot of analysts, Bears coaches, or even fans talk about, man, is this injury was gruesome.
Oh, yeah.
It was gruesome.
Yeah.
It was.
For
If you go on Google, it's listed as severe. I mean, his ankle was destroyed in that game. So there is a chance that Braxton Jones doesn't come back at 100% health ever, man. I mean, his ankle was entirely rebuilt. It was a brutal injury, guys. I don't know if you're, and I think that if I remember correctly, they did a pretty good job on television at hiding it. But I mean, his ankle exploded, man. And I'm not trying to laugh. I'm not trying to laugh about it.
It's kind of like
it was really bad. It was really bad.
And you know what? When you have a big boy, and Braxton Jones is a big boy, 6'5", 300 pounds, dude, I'll tell you this. I broke my ankle a couple of years ago. I'm 5'9", 180. And it took me damn near a year to get this ankle. I broke like 40 bones in my ankle.
Yeah, and Sean, you probably couldn't be playing defending NFL defensive ends right now on that ankle, man.
No, it was brutal. The weight and everything that you have to put on there and the things that you have to do. There should be cause for concern if Braxton Jones will ever be the same player again.
Absolutely. That was kind of my point. He left the field in that brace that doesn't let the fans see it on your way out. I mean, guys, those are always bad injuries. When they put that big cover on your limb so that nobody sees how bad the damage actually is.
I can't say he would start for that many teams. Dallas Titans, Houston Jags, Miami Chiefs, Baltimore.
Man, Howie knows his shit. I don't even know who the left tackles are for most of those football teams.
I don't know, man. Look, I love Braxton Jones. I've been a Braxton Jones defender. I think Braxton Jones has gotten better every single year that he's been here, but his deficiencies are apparent, and they're not going to get better because he's not athletically inclined enough to be better at his deficiencies. I don't think Dan Rocher can make him better at those. Maybe scheme fit, maybe getting someone over there to help him. But his deficiencies are his deficiencies. He's been here long enough. We know what they are. They're not going to change. He's not fast enough off the line. He's just not.
He can't. Well, no. Ben Johnson pointed out his biggest flaw. Ben Johnson pointed out his biggest flaw pretty early on. I think the third day Ben Johnson addressed the media. Braxton Jones cannot anchor. He cannot anchor.
Yeah.
When he gets bull rushed against big, strong upper body guys, he gets put right into Caleb's lap. That's his biggest problem.
I agree with Guy here.
Braxton by the way, have you seen Guy? Is this
I have
Guy?
not seen Guy. Guy, is this your first time?
Guy Finley?
Guy Finley, hit that like and
something for you,
buddy. And we're going to give you the
That's for you, Guy. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you watching. If you can't hit that like and subscribe, and you know what, man,
First
I
time.
don't
Thank
I
you,
don't
Guy. We
dis
really
I don't
appreciate
disagree.
it.
I don't disagree with what Guy's saying here about the Saints for sure, because I didn't even think about it. Flaga?
Oh, yeah.
No
Yeah.
way. No way. I'm with you, Guy. There's no chance in hell that Braxton. I'm sorry, Howie, but I don't know. Maybe Howie just forgot that that's who they drafted last. There's no way. No way. I
Hold on. He
just
said, I saw Quran in the title and I'm an OT nerd. I don't know if you miss. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, Guy.
he saw Karan's name on the thumbnail and he's a fan of offensive
Oh,
tackles.
gotcha. Gotcha. In
Jeez,
the
Sean.
title. Hey,
It's not hieroglyphics.
listen, I am freaking tired beyond belief.
Nah,
I'm
Sean
struggling
is
to keep
tired.
my
Sean's
eyes.
doing me a
I
favor
need
tonight, guys.
toothpicks. I
Yeah,
need toothpicks right now.
Sean's doing me a favor. Usually Dustin's here with me, guys. We actually usually kick this show off at 11:30. We're doing it earlier so that Sean can be conscious for this.
At
So Sean, I
11:30, I would
appreciate
be
you.
sleeping. I'd be here like this.
Yeah, we just have a
Bears.
cam. We just have a camera on Sean sleeping. Yeah. So I appreciate you
Okay.
hanging out with me, Sean. I appreciate you sticking it out, man. I know you had a long day too, on top of just being an
I
early
love
an
this
early
shit,
goer.
man. I
Yeah.
love this shit.
Yeah, I got you, guy. He says, thanks for interviewing. Yeah, I deciphered your message. The whole LT meaning left tackle. That was a tough one. Now I'm giving you shit, Sean. Um, Flog at a right tackle. They plan on rookie Kevin Banks at left tackle. Oh, so Howie, are you stating though that you would put Braxton Jones in there over Calvin Banks without ever watching that kid play? He was a first round pick. I'd still probably go Calvin Banks. I would have drafted Calvin Banks if I were the Bears at 10th overall. I would if they drafted Calvin Banks to replace Braxton Jones. I probably wouldn't have been all that upset. I get what you're saying, Howie. I think what you're kind of saying is exactly what we feel about Braxton Jones. He's kind of been a just behind the middle, like maybe a little ahead of the middle of the pack kind of guy, right, Sean? I mean, if there's 32
Yeah.
left tackles in the NFL, I'd put him at like 14th, maybe
Hey,
15th. I
if
don't think
I'm
he's
gonna
been
look up.
I don't think he's been egregiously bad, but I certainly don't want him protecting my possible future
I'll tell you
franchise
this: Braxton,
quarterback's
Braxton
blind
Jones
side.
in the run game is an absolute
No, he's a
monster.
monster. He gets to the second level very quickly. I can guarantee
Yeah,
this. DeAndre Swift loves Braxton Jones. There's no doubt about that. But
I mean Braxton Jones PFF numbers. He was a 77.4
he was
overall.
ranked a top 20 tackle in the
Yeah,
NFL.
yeah. I mean he
Yeah.
was. He was.
Both
And
tackles
PFF
were.
was
Darnell
20.
Wright and him were both. He was ranked 19th, I believe. So he just cracked the top 20. I think Darnell Wright was ranked like 16th or something like that.
Here and
And,
again,
and I'll say
I'm
this,
going to
man. If
Braxton
you're
Jones
talking about
later.
if you're talking about the value you get versus what a player was paid or where he was drafted, Braxton Jones has exceeded his expectations. When Ryan Poles drafted him in the fifth round, I actually did send you guys a text that said this is going to be their starting left tackle for the next 4 years. I can't believe I was fucking right about that. I'm gonna be honest, because I think even when I was texting it, I was kind of consciously telling myself it's not going to happen. But he has done more than I thought he would, and the Bears have gotten more out of him than I think most fans expected. But I will say this, Howie, the point that you're making is almost too much a good one because Braxton Jones is, by all measures, a starting left tackle in the NFL. The way you're saying it, he's probably going to get an $18 million a year contract thrown at him. Do you want the Bears to be the team that pays that? I
I
am
was
good,
just
man.
you just read my mind, Brandon.
Yeah,
I was going to say
unfortunately
put
he's played well
in
enough to get the bank, dude.
here in the
I'm
chat.
not comfortable with
Put
it.
yes, put a Y to resign him or an N to not resign him. I just want to see what everyone's
And I'm going to
thinking.
just
If
tell you
you
right
would
now, as a
resign,
starting left tackle, the market is just going to dictate this. He's going to be a 17 to 20 million dollar a year player.
yeah.
There's just no doubt he's not.
Oh, 100%.
So,
And that's my
do you
question. Do
want
you
to
guys
give
want
this
the
guy?
Bears to pay him $20 million?
I can't, man. I know there's no way.
I
And
mean,
I
the
don't think
chat, so far there's 2 no's. There's 3 no's.
and another thing you got to think about, man, is Ryan Poles did draft a left tackle in the third round last year, and he drafted a left tackle in the second round this year. I don't think Ryan Poles is ready to pay
Hey,
this kid.
and really quick, Howie, Darnell Wright might have been 16th overall, yeah, Darnell Wright, 16th overall in
Vizzo Joe
overall
says
offensive
no.
tackles. At his
Illinois
side,
Jones says no.
he was wasn't he 3?
What's it?
Braxton Jones or Darnell Wright. He was the number 3 overall right tackle. His numbers were just below Penny
No,
Sewell.
I think he's giving you the list of offensive tackles total. Darnell
Right.
Wright, I
And
think, was
I
like
don't care about the
16.
left side. I only care
Yeah.
about the right side. And in the right side, he's top 3 at his position. And go look at his numbers in Penny
Darnell
Sewell.
Wright's going to get better
Yeah.
too. He's not
Well, you
reached his
also
peak.
have to look at Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright was left on an island by himself 70% of the time, more than any other left tackle in the entire NFL last year, and he held his own. He's also 23 years old. I don't even want to get started on Darnell Wright because we'll be here all night because I
Well-
love that kid. He's one of my
I
favorite
think,
Chicago Bears.
and he's going to get better. Darnell Wright is certainly not the best player he's going to be in his career quite yet. I will say this though, Howie. Braxton Jones might play better with Joe Tooney next to him because his interior offensive line has been a revolving door. It's been ass at best. But again, Ryan Poles drafted a left tackle 2 years in a row, one in the third round, one in the second. I can't imagine right now that Ryan Poles is envisioning giving Braxton Jones the contract that he's going to require.
don't
My
either.
guess right now is Ryan Poles is very much thinking he will not be on this Bears roster in 2026.
Here, and
Now
I can
he
tell
is.
you guys,
He is for sure. In regards, Sean, to what you asked, is he going to be on this team this year? Yes, he's going to be on this football
He
team
will
this
be.
year.
I will tell you guys this though, and I said this last night on the Barely There podcast, right here on this channel. I said it and I meant it. If these two guys don't work out, you don't re-sign Braxton Jones. You go look at that left tackle class in the 2026 NFL draft. The Bears should be somewhere between 14 and 16 in the draft next year. One of those left tackles will be there. There is 4 or 5 tackles that they're saying on draftbuzz.com. Go check it out. Go look at left tackles that are pro ready next year to start.
It's a
There's
strong
huge-
class.
Yeah, it's a very strong class. So if Amegadjie doesn't work out, if Trapilo doesn't work out, you have an opportunity to still fix that in the draft next year in between 14 and 16. And if the Bears are drafting higher than that, that's a whole totally different conversation.
And this is a
But-
premium position that requires a premium contract. I mean, you have to think about it. Caleb Williams is about to ask you for $1 billion here, man.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but it's going to be a big deal, man. It's going to be a real big deal. So can you pay Braxton Jones? Let's say Braxton Jones was a phenomenal player. Holly would say he's one of the best left tackles in football. Can you even pay that guy at that position when you know you got Caleb's
But
deal
you
coming?
have to.
When you
have
could restart the left you can restart the contract, right? So
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
paying Braxton Jones, you go get this
That's true.
rookie. It's starting all over, man. And then you don't got to
Yeah.
pay your left tackle that $150 million deal until well after Caleb's already gotten his money. So I mean, if you're Ryan Poles, man, there's a lot of things to consider here. And if Braxton, are you sold that this guy is going to be your $20 million man for the next
No.
5 years, man?
Most of the chat agrees with us. The only one who didn't was
And I'm
Howie.
not trying to pick on you, Howie. I like
I'm not
Braxton
either. I
Jones.
love
Like
you,
I
Howie.
said, the
You're my
day he
guy.
was drafted, I actually texted these guys, all of us here in the 4 Stars text. He's going to be the starting left tackle for the next 3 or 4 years on this football team, and he has been. And he's done a serviceable job at that. But then again, Howie, another thing that you haven't yet addressed in these chats is you're talking about paying a guy a possible, okay, so $22 million a year. The dude's ankle just exploded and got rebuilt.
That's
I mean,
tough, man.
we're worried about Jonah
tough.
Jackson because he just had a rough year with injuries. Braxton Jones is coming off an injury that, Sean, I know that I've given you guys the number before. 63%. 63% of offensive linemen get back to playing condition after suffering an injury. 63%. That's a very low number. It is actually the lowest number of all NFL positions. Offensive linemen have the lowest success rate at getting back into playing condition and having a long career after injuries. So that's something you got to think about too.
And I don't know about right tackle not being a premium position. It's certainly not as premium as the left tackle. But if you don't have a good right tackle, your offensive line is not going to be that good.
Yeah, there's only maybe 2 guys in the league that get paid on the right side, like get that left tackle money. Guys like Penny Sewell, you know, what I mean? Guys who are just brick walls.
And I hate to say this, but Darnell Wright is going to be Penny Sewell. The guy's 23.
Why do you hate to say that?
No, I should.
I hate saying this, but we got a potential Hall of Famer on our hands.
He's a stud, man. He's a stud.
Yeah,
I don't know what more people want.
he's gotten better every year, and he's going to continue to do so. And I think by the time, Darnell Wright's owed some money. He's going to command a lot. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But
When
when
is
these
his
tackles
contract
when
up?
these tackles guys are elite players like Darnell Wright is becoming, you do pay them. When they're Braxton Jones like players, it's probably best to let somebody else throw the bag at them, man. At least that's the way I look at it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And again, I do not hate. I do not hate Braxton Jones at all. I think he's for a fifth round pick. He's exceeded his draft position.
Wirfs is a
You know,
stud, Howie. Wirfs
yeah.
is a stud.
And here and I'll say this: if Penei Sewell got a 4-year, $112 million contract with $85 million guaranteed, I'm just going to tell you guys this: you better be looking at something around that for one
Oh,
Darnell
more. The
Wright.
cap increased, so the
Yeah,
market
because
will
the
now
cap.
demand a higher
Yeah.
value.
So
So Darnell
you,
Wright will probably make more money than Penei Sewell,
yep,
regardless of whether or not he's a better
yep.
player. Yeah.
So
But
it's going to be interesting.
I like what Guy Finley says here. He says, I'm looking forward to seeing Darnell Wright with real coaching. You got to think about that too. Both these guys, Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, have done this with Chris Morgan as their
Yeah,
commander in chief. Yeah, good God. I mean, how did this guy last 2 tenures on this organization? But Dan Rocher is going to make sure that Darnell Wright is. And listen, Penei Sewell's turning the corner, Sean. He's getting old. Darnell Wright will be a better right tackle in the next
yeah.
few years to come here. So then
Yeah, Penei
than
Sewell
Penei
signed
Sewell.
through 2029, and when that contract's up, he's going to be how old is he now? 28, I think. So he'll be
Do you know Dan Rocher was everybody in the chat? Right? I don't know if you guys like Dan Rocher, the Bears' current offensive line coach, was the offensive coordinator at Illinois. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a fun fact, yeah. When I was looking through all the players, when I was looking through the players that he had previously coached in the NFL, I stumbled upon his coaching tenure, and yeah, the guy was a offensive coordinator, not an offensive line coach. He was the OC of Illinois.
So Penny Sewell's 29. When his contract is up, what year are we in again? So his contract's up, or 24. When his contract's up, he's going to be 29.
Which is a good.
So
I mean, if you're the Lions, you do that. You lock that guy the fuck up. You
yeah,
let him finish his career. And I'll say this, man, to the guys that stay healthy through their career, like the not Travis. What's Kelsey? Jason Kelsey? Is it
Jason Kelsey. Yeah,
most offensive linemen that are really quality football players play at a pretty high level till the year they retire. Jason Kelsey would have been one of the best centers in football if he decided to come back for another year. And Joe Tooney's still going to be a phenomenal football. A lot of people are worried about Joe Tooney being 30 years old or whatever he is, 32.
I'm one of
That
those
guy's
people.
that guy's still a stud, man. He's still going to be a stud this year for the Bears.
I'm a little worried. I'm a little
It's a
worried about his
position,
age.
yeah, but Sean, like, it's not a speed built position. Like you don't, yeah, as long as you're staying in shape. If you're hitting the weight room over the off season, it's a position played heavily on strength. You don't lose much as you get older when it comes to that position. There's not a whole lot
Yeah,
of
that's
things that
true.
you can't do. You know what I mean?
I
When
mean,
you're like
Jason
a
wasn't
Tyreek
Jason
Hill and you're getting older, there's a problem. You're getting slower. You know what I mean?
wasn't Jason Peters playing till he was like 50?
Yeah, he played on, I don't know, about 50. He played on the Bears when he was 40, I believe.
He's 43 now, and he
I think
just
he played
retired last.
last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
retired last year, so he retired at 42 years old. I don't know if you're going to get that out of Joe Tooney, but yeah, let's just say Jason Peters was an anomaly.
And Jason Peters doesn't have 4 Super Bowl rings. So Joe Tooney
Yeah,
might not play as long, but he's got a lot more to show for it, man. And I'll tell you what, man, Joe Tooney's an impactful player, even if he's not playing his best football, because he is a fucking encyclopedia of knowledge and he knows how to win
yeah,
football, man. And he said the things that Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady taught him over his career are almost invaluable. I mean, it's almost priceless, the amount of knowledge this guy has. He said he could actually probably help Caleb. He said Caleb Williams texted him. Do you know this? From the minute they signed Joe Tooney said on that radio interview that I told you guys to turn on when it was happening, one of the best interviews I've ever heard. That dude is that dude should be a coach when his career's over. But he said Caleb Williams texts him on a daily basis. Joe Tooney.
really.
I mean, that's who Caleb is, man. Caleb Williams, they signed this guy in Tooney who protected quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. And Caleb, the first thing Caleb Williams thinks is, I got to pick this guy's brain. You know what I mean? Like, This guy played with the best. I got to pick this guy's brain. So
He
it says a
might
lot
be.
about your quarterback, by the way.
He might be it. Oh, we got another one. Syntax. What is it? Shittex
Shit
03.
text. Shit text. Shit
Hey,
text.
welcome to the show, man. We really
Shit
appreciate it.
text. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey,
Give
and I want to
him
say
one.
this to everybody here, man. We got 73 in the building right now. We appreciate y'all. The chat is on fire. You guys are keeping us alive. You're keeping me awake because I'm falling asleep.
Let's give
But
Shy Text the
I love you guys.
yeah. Shy Text. I was just giving you shit about the name, by the way. We appreciate you being here. Thanks, Shy
Yeah.
Text, for showing up, man. Strength and technique. Oh, wait. I want to see what do you say there?
Sorry.
Bears have the
Sorry.
worst luck when it comes to O-line consistency. Oh yeah, dude, the injury on their trenches is disastrous. I mean, I've been a football fan for 20 plus years. I don't know if I can tell you how much injury this team has seen in the trenches over the last few years. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, to be honest.
We had like 36
Just messing
different
with you, Shy Text. We appreciate you being here, man. We appreciate you being
Yeah,
here.
we love you being here, man. We really appreciate you.
And
Very,
I'm also not the best reader in the world, so yeah, he's right. Injuries start to set in. That's and Chai Tex, I don't know if you were here a little early. That's what I was saying too. Braxton Jones is coming off a pretty severe one. Kiran Amegadjie also has the calf injury that's been bothering him since he was in Yale. So injury is a big concern here. That's why you gotta have depth. And when I say depth, you gotta have young players you're developing to be starters. That's what depth is to me. It's not drafting first round guys to sit on the bench in case somebody gets injured. It's drafting mid round picks and turning them into better players. That's what I think the Bears are going to start doing now that they have some quality coaches. Sean, anything else to say about the offensive line, about Braxton Jones, about Kiran Amegadjie, more importantly?
No, man, I'm pretty happy. Like I said, we have some more OTAs coming up here. So we're just going to keep our eye on what this coaching staff is doing. And I wouldn't be surprised as this next one approaches next week if we saw Ozzy playing with the first team and we saw Karan playing with the third team. I think they're going to mix it up. They're going to see what they got on this roster. And I'm very excited to see what they got. There is one thing I wanted to touch on, and that was this. The comments that were made about Roma Dunze by our head football coach. I can't seem to find here it is. Bears head football coach Ben Johnson on Roma Dunze. The way he approaches the meeting room, the walkthrough, on the field, the drill work, he's much like a seasoned pro, some of the best I've ever been around. So this guy has a lot of experience. He's been around a lot. He's seen a lot. And I sit there and I look at it and say,
he handles
wow.
himself like a veteran
Yes.
player. He does. He's very humble, man.
It's a huge statement.
Also, you can kind of tell he knows how good he's going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's going to be. I mean, we know that, guys. This kid's going to hit the ground running this season. I think he's going to have.
Whoa, Illinois Jones, take it easy on my boy Bill Murray. Bill Murray is the man.
Hey,
come on now.
It's Illinois Jones is having Groundhog Day experiences, a nightmare of Bill Murray just coming back again and again and again. You know what? I want to say this, Shy Tex. Maybe I did it on purpose because you might possibly be our 500 subscriber, and if that's the case, you are the shit, Shy Tex. So
and you
that's
know
why
what?
I
If
said
you are, I'm gonna go look right now, Shy Tex, because if you are, you might be in line for a little gift. We haven't announced it yet, but I don't know if I can check that.
we're giving. Nobody told me. When will I get it? I want a fucking gift. No,
You might be
I
in
don't.
line
I think if we're giving gifts, man, we got a lot of loyal followers here that need some gifts. So yeah, we are going to start. We are going to start.
Brandon,
Yeah,
we have hit 500.
Let's do
We
another
thank you
applause.
guys so much, so much, man. I'm going to shed a tear. Thank you guys, man. Thank you, you guys.
No, for real. That
awesome.
I'm keeping my shit together. That's incredible, guys. And to like Howie and Illinois Jones,
certified badass.
To the guys that have been here, loyal, that just
Certified.
keep coming back and watching our shows and enjoy this content, man. We more than appreciate you guys. And then the newcomers, Jason Tate tonight and Shy Tex.
Yep.
It's awesome. It's
And-
awesome. It's
and,
awesome to share. It's awesome to share these conversations with you guys. Like I said, we started this. They kicked this thing off.
Hi.
It was just the four of us or the two of us or whoever was hosting a show. And it just doesn't carry the same way, man. When you guys are throwing stuff in the chat and you're in the conversation, sometimes we put something on the thumbnail, we have a bullet, we kill it in 10, 15 minutes, and then we're kind of like, where the fuck do we go from here? And then you guys start throwing stuff in the chat, and it really, honestly, it relieves us of some of the stress that we have mid shows when we're like, what the hell do we do from here?
Yeah, and you know what, guys? Yes, Proctor Howard. We talked
You
about
guys
Proctor
bail
last
us out
night.
a lot, to be honest. You
Yeah.
bail us out.
You were on the show last night, Howie. That's the guy I was talking about, Proctor, the monster tackle that's on Alabama coming out of the draft. He's a junior. Dude, 6'7", 370-pound tackle. You talk about a mass of humanity. Good luck trying to move that guy off the line.
But real quick, Sean, because you
Alabama.
alluded to it, and then we kind of got we are going to do some merch, guys. We're going to get some t-shirts and like koozies
Yes.
and stuff put together. And once that
Oh.
occurs, we'll do stuff like that. And for the guys who have been watching us forever, we'll obviously get your emails, get something going to take care of you in
Yeah,
some
you know
way,
what? We're
because we
gonna have
can't
a
do a whole
drop
lot.
I was gonna say we're gonna put something together on the on our website, 4starchicagosports.com. We're gonna put something together on there for you guys to go and drop your email addresses, because we'd like to start doing some giveaways. I have a lot of different hookups with Bears merch and stuff that we run for these our upcoming
The charity events.
charity events that we will be having for 5 Chicago Bears games this year. Unfortunately, we will be, fortunately for us, unfortunately for everybody else, we'll be at the home opener. So we will not be doing a home opener party, but we'll probably broadcast something from the home opener as we're tailgating on a Monday night in Chicago. But yeah, we're gonna brainstorm with each other. We're gonna come up with something. I didn't expect us to get to 500 this quick. So as Brandon just alluded to, thank you guys so much. I love it. I love you
Much
guys.
love, guys. Honest
Thank
to God.
you so much. You don't know how much it really does mean to us.
Shy
Because-
text the 500 sub man. We
Yeah,
appreciate you
my
guys,
guy.
honest to God, and we
It
appreciate
could
the
have been Guy,
conversation we're having
though. It
tonight,
could have been
because
Guy.
I didn't even expect. There's so much stuff we've got into tonight, man, that I just did not have even on the fucking right. We were texting each
Right.
other today, Sean, about like, what the hell are we gonna do with this show? There's no news for the Bears, and then as always, man, I just seem to forget. Like, the chat's gonna keep this shit going, man.
It's 1
they're
hour
gonna
and
bail us
42
out
minutes
and lead
in.
us in the right direction, man. You guys always take care of us. This conversation's been, and Howie and Jason and wait, man, what other fan base other than Bears fans we can throw out offensive line conversations? These guys are just killing it and beating it the hell up, man. That's fucking awesome. Because I did not think we'd be able to talk about. I put Quran on the thumbnail. I thought that would maybe be a 15-minute conversation. It's been half the show, and it's awesome because
Here's
I
2
could talk
hours
about our
later.
starting left tackle. Yeah, I could do it all day, man. All day, for damn sure.
I love it. I love it, man.
Lomu, Utah, legit LT.
Oh, dude, Fano. He's talking about. I thought. No, who's Fano on?
Thank you, Shy Tex. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate
So
it.
Utah has two left tackles.
Yeah, Fanu. I thought Fanu was the left tackle at Utah that was coming out. And guys, bear with me here because I'm really tired. So I don't have all my wits about me right now. So if I'm wrong, Fanu playing at I thought he was at Utah. I could be wrong. It could be. Where's Dustin when I need him?
Yeah, where's Bruce? Who's throwing this
Where's
stuff?
Bruce? Where are
Yeah.
you, Bruce?
Bruce, you're fired. You're fired, man.
Hey, we're gonna get
We
all
don't
you
pay
guys.
we don't pay him
We're-
anything, but he's fine.
This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna come up with something. We want to do like a fan fantasy football league where we battle against each other. We were talking about this.
No, he's correct, Sean. Caleb Lomu. That's the individual that playing left tackle.
For Utah.
Yep.
For Utah. Who's Fanu on? Fano.
Well, Howie just said there's 2 starting caliber left tackles on Utah. I think as we were talking about how strong the draft class is.
Okay.
I think he was stating that there's 2 really good left tackles on that football team. So maybe Fanu's there as well. I don't know. Utah football, man, that is way out of my way out of my knowledge zone. I don't know, man. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
don't think
awesome.
we're
That's awesome that you guys know that stuff because man, my hard drive's full, man. I don't know how much more I
yeah.
can throw up here, man. But
And Jason, I'm going to tell you, you guys, once again, we're going to talk to Lindsay. She's our lady who does our website stuff. We're going to come up with a section where you guys can drop your emails in. Even, you guys can find us too on Facebook Messenger. You could drop your information in there as far as your email, because we'd like to get a hold of you guys and
don't
try you
do it in the
guys.
chat because once our
Don't,
live
yes, don't
show
do it in the
ends,
chat.
our chat
Yes.
disappears. There's no
Yes.
record of our live chat.
Facebook Messenger or our website, because I think there's a way right now to get a hold of us on the
Yeah, there's
website.
a contact us on our
Yeah,
website.
you can drop your contact information in there. We'd like to start collecting everybody's because we do want to start running some competitions or give away jerseys. We'll quiz
We're going
people and
to.
say,
Yeah, we're absolutely
yeah,
going to start doing.
yeah, and guess what? I want to get all of our regular listeners. I want to do a Bears end of the season record competition, and like you guys got to spell out the schedule, and we're gonna hit these games, and we'll look at them. We'll break them down. There's 4 of us. We'll take you get 10, I get 10, we get 10. We'll put them all together. We're gonna figure it all out. You gotta just give us some time. We do work for a living too, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the crappy part of my day. Yeah, same as everyone else. Yeah. That's
But yeah, let's
but
get into
once again, man, this doesn't feel much like and we put a lot of shit into this. A lot of work that goes into this too, guys. I mean, we
there
spend
is.
most of our days when we're not at our 9 to 5s, getting this
Y-
stuff
y-
together and preparing
I
this.
was
But
gonna
so
say
once
today,
again, you
Brandon.
guys make it a lot easier though when we're running out of ideas on some days when the NFL well runs dry. You know what I mean?
That a boy, Jason. He said he'll be back on Monday. And if you're a Cub fan, Jason, we do the Northside 9 on Saturdays for the new subscribers. We do
Great
Cub
show.
show
They have a Cubs
Saturday.
insider join the show
Yeah.
sometimes too.
Yep. We do. And we're hopefully working on a Blackhawk show and a Bull show. And as we continue to grow, we've only been doing this since September. So we appreciate everybody. You guys have jumped on and stuck with us this long, and hopefully we can continue to make this community great and grow it and just show you how much we appreciate all of you guys. So let's get
Sean?
into some headlines.
Yes,
Headlines and
sir.
deadlines.
I was going to say, gentlemen, for those of you who have watched the show for some time, you know how this works. This is a segment called Headlines or Deadlines, guys. I'm going to pitch you a topic. You tell me if it's good enough to be printed today. It's a headline. If it's complete and utter bullshit, it's a deadline. Sean, I did write. So I'm good. I'm happy with these ones I wrote today, man. Because because sometimes I have to get these together after if my work runs long. If I have a very short period of time to come up with this
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, man, I had hours to sit down and think of this. I think I'm going to stump you on a few of these, okay? And some of them are just for comedic relief. I only got 5 for you this week, all right? Start off with number 1, Sean. Headline or deadline? Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Stevenson will both commit a disciplinary offense with one another during the joint practice. Now this is becoming such a common thing. We know it's just happening more and more every year. And as soon as I saw Dolphins on the joint practice, I was like, oh, the Tyreeks are both gonna have a fucking problem with this, man. This is gonna be a problem. And they're gonna be facing one another.
I'll say deadline because there's
Because
going
the
to
new
be
coaching.
discipline
Yeah,
instilled
I
in
knew
the
it. I
staff.
was hoping you said headline so that I could be like, oh, so you think Al Harris isn't doing a good enough job?
You know what? I
Damn.
actually watched. They actually, if you guys go on X, they actually had Al Harris with his defensive backs today, and they were going through drills, and they were like synchronized. It almost looked like a synchronized dance team. Like it was
Oh
really
boy.
awesome. Like he's got these guys in
Hey,
sync,
Kyler
like
Gordon was the
doing
dancer.
footwork. It was pretty awesome, man. It was pretty awesome.
I'm gonna say headline, man. I don't give. I know this coach is gonna. I know they're gonna instill discipline in this football team, but Tyreek Hill is a problem, man. I'm gonna say headline. I'm gonna say the Tyreek Hill guys. You're hearing it now. So remember, I reported it before it happened. Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Stevenson make the news for an issue. Make at least the sports news for an issue had during their joint practice. This happens every year in multiple practices between multiple players. It's always about which players are paired up. You've got a problem in Tyreek Hill. You've got an attitude in Tyreek Stevenson. I'm seeing something
Well,
occur here, man.
I will tell you, if you go to ChicagoBears.com, you'll see Roma Dunze absolutely blazed Tyree Stevenson today over the middle. He absolutely dusted him, dude. Tyreek
Yeah,
Stevenson ain't
he's going
going
to be
after
doing that. Unfortunately, I could see both those things occurring a lot this year, man. I'm still not sold on Tyreek Stevenson, and I think Roma Dunze is going to explode. I think he's the best receiver on the Bears currently. But all right, headliner
Let's go.
deadline, Sean. Two of Chicago's. While we're on the subject, I guess this is a good way to segue. Two of Chicago's starting three wide receivers will finish with 1,000+ yards.
Oh, that's a headline. I think we might be
Oh,
really
you said
close.
that. Yeah, you said that. That came out fast, man. Really?
Yeah.
It would be.
I
That'd be the first
well
time in
here,
like ever,
DJ Moore will have
ever
1,000
years.
yards. And I think Roma Dunze will too. And I think that if Luther Burden can stay healthy, he might push it. He just might push it. I think he'll have 1,000 combined
Guy
yards.
says headline. He says book
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm gonna say headline too, and I'm gonna say it's Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. I love Luther Burden, and as Ben Johnson said, the slot gets the ball more than anyone else. But DJ Moore can play in the middle too. I think those two absolutely both. And like I said, I think Roma Dunze is about to. Randall L said to Roma Dunze when he was given the job, when he was hired on by Ben Johnson, he said, "I thought that Rome was better than Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors." That's what he said to the media. I gotta say, man, maybe not Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors looks to be a pretty special player. He had more targets than any player in NFL history. But I think Roma Dunze is a better player than Marvin Harrison Jr. is. I do. And
Ooh.
I think
That's
Malik Neighbors is hands
that
down
should have been a
better than
headline or deadline.
yeah. Headliner deadline. Roma Dunze is better than Marvin Harrison. You think
Hey,
that?
and
You don't
have you
think?
seen?
Don't you think
Have
Malik
you
Neighbors
seen?
is better than Marvin Harrison? Malik Neighbors is an animal, dude.
Have you seen Marvin Harrison? I'll send you his pick.
Like
He's
ever?
rocked out. He's
Oh,
rocked out.
like has I
Here.
seen him lately?
Oh yeah, dude. He went into an off-season regimen. Here, personally, you know how much I love Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison is going to explode this year. I really do. How he thinks he
That
sucks.
takes the Kyler Murray though. That could be a
Just don't
problem.
forget,
Is there
Howie. Don't forget about his bloodline.
is there a receiver across from this guy though, man? Like that's his biggest problem is there's no attention drawn anywhere else.
People may not agree with me, dude, but I like Michael Wilson. I think Michael Wilson's a pretty damn good player, and you have Trey McBride there.
Do they
So,
still have Dortch or whatever the fucking
I don't know if Greg Dortch is still there, but I like Greg Dortch.
That
too.
is actually his name, huh?
Yep.
When that came out, it sounded so wrong in my head.
Bizzo Joe says Luther Burden reminds him a bit of Malik Neighbors.
I do not disagree with that, man.
Yep,
I do
yep,
not
I can
disagree
see
with
that.
that. There is an explosive aspect to those players and very easy to target. Really good at separation. Yeah, you're on something there, man. And if Luther
Yep.
Burden is anything like Malik Neighbors, Luther Burden's probably the best Chicago Bears receiver, man. Because good lord. I mean, that's a
Hey,
guy who can throw the ball
I went on
15
record.
times a game, man.
I went on record yesterday
Yeah,
and said I think at the end of the
Shy-Tech's ain't wrong here either. That was the difference. I think that's why Marvin Harrison went first off the board during that draft last 2 years or last
dude,
year, guys.
he's
He's
rocked out.
6'4". I mean, if you look at a guy standing next to his dad, it's like, where the hell did this dude come from? He's like 6'4", like 220. What was it? Wasn't his dad like 6'1"?
Who, Marvin Harrison?
Yeah. His dad was a smaller guy, man.
He was a little bit of a smaller guy, but
I think he was
like a damn good route runner.
Yeah, he was Peyton Manning's blessing.
Security way. Yeah, and you know what? I think Caleb Williams has that. He had Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. He's got DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. I mean, this offense is set up perfectly.
And I think that Colston Loveland's better than Dallas Clark. I'm not talking on Dallas Clark. I think he was just not inducted, but he was a Hall of Fame
6'2",
final.
6'2". She says
He was eligible. All right, Sean. Headline or deadline? After an official report that the Bears tried to trade up with the Patriots in the draft to select Travion Henderson, the Bears are not confident or content with their running back room.
I wouldn't say
I
not
knew I'd get
confident.
one that stumped you.
I wouldn't
You've been
say not
answering those too
confident.
fast.
I would say maybe not content, but I do think there is some confidence there in DeAndre Swift. Actually, I read today that DeAndre Swift and God, God, I
Roshan
do forget about
Manungai,
no the coach we've been talking about.
Eric
This is how
Bieniemy.
tired. Bieniemy, thank you. This is how tired I'm getting. I can't process Eric Bieniemy's
Slap
freaking
yourself,
name.
Sean.
I actually read today that they are like stuck at the hip, and DeAndre Swift is leaning on him because he is going to teach him more than he's ever been taught. I actually am starting to like that marriage. I would say not content more than not confident, and I still do believe after June 1st.
Oh, Guy Finley. Hold on. Sorry, Sean. Go ahead and finish.
No,
But I want to read
after
this.
June 1st, I believe, write it down, take a picture. I think Nick Chubb is a Chicago Bear.
Guy
After
Finley, I
June
was
1st.
just going to say, says deadline, don't need to waste resources on running back. Guy, you might be the first person that has pitched this. I think I heard this. I have not heard this all but one way. I mean, everybody thinks that the Bears are in the market for a running back and absolutely will do something with this position.
Hey, and
He's
Howie, really
confident. He's
quick.
confident. He's confident in these guys. And then Illinois Jones says, how good would Matt Forte be on this team?
Oh God, you mean this
Outrageously.
guy? You mean that guy?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you this right
Matt
now.
Forte was my
I just
shit, man.
I just want to get to this really quick.
Maybe one of my
Howie,
top 5
you're
Bear for me.
you're preaching to the choir, and if Kyle was here, he would tell you who my man crush is. It's Ben Trey McBride. I love Trey McBride. I was on Trey McBride before anybody else.
Oh boy,
Kyle apologized to
Sean's
me
man
last year
crush.
because I told everyone he was going to be that good, and nobody freaking believed me. I love the shit out of Trey McBride, dude.
Yeah, Shy Tex. Shy Tex. It seemed like every time the Bears were kind of in a position to draft a running back, something happened that prevented
Yeah.
that, and you could tell that Manungai was a very Plan Z. You know what I mean? And I like Manungai.
Ooh.
I think there's some potential there, especially with Eric Bieniemy. But you could tell that Manungai was like their last resort because they went from targeting a future 3 down back to like, let's get this guy who plays a role and can fall 1 yard forward when he's tackled. And I think Manungai is a good player. But I think
Yeah.
he's just gets you that 3rd and 4th and short kind of guy, maybe goal line runner. But yeah,
I'm going to say this, dude.
I think it wasn't in the cards for the Bears during the
I'm not
draft.
giving up on Roshan Johnson,
But
guys.
God, could
I'm
you
really
imagine,
freaking
guys?
not.
Could you imagine though? Could you imagine if your draft went Colston Loveland, Travion Henderson, Luther Burden, who was because the Bears had 2 picks basically back to back. Let's say that's how their draft went. My God, that's an
Hey,
A fucking plus plus.
Howie and I speak so much alike. And again, I wish Kyle was here on our fantasy show. My sleeper of the year preseason last year was Tyrone Tracy Jr. This is on film. I'm not making it up. I had it. I called it, and it took a half a year for it to come to existence. But when it did, there you go, baby. Can't wait for this year because I got some
Guy
special
likes
ones for you
Guy
guys.
likes Rojo, yeah, and it seems like there's some sort of marriage here, guys, between Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson. Ryan Poles has been providing Ben Johnson the things that I think he asked for when he became the head coach of his football team, and I also think that Ryan Poles probably asked Ben Johnson and this coaching staff in its entirety, can you see what we have in the guys that I've drafted to this football team that just haven't been given the opportunity yet? Guys
Yeah.
like Austin Booker, who only played in Austin Booker played 239 snaps. I mean, Roshan Johnson has
Ridiculous.
gotten basically the bare minimum. There it is. You have to say the title in an episode. Roshan Johnson has gotten the bare minimum when it comes to opportunity here,
Somewhere
guys.
Kyle is cringing right now.
Tyler Scott's been a healthy scratch. I mean, Tyler Scott's watching football games with me on a couch at fucking home. So that's a problem. So I would imagine that Ryan Poole said, before you start cutting these guys that I drafted off this roster, man, can at least see what they're made of. So, and that doesn't need to happen in season. It can happen now. Yep, everyone allowed me for the defensive end. I think they like what we. Yeah, and I think, and Dustin, our co-host here at 4 Stars, is a really big advocate, guys, for Austin Booker, and I tend to agree with him. I think that kid's He's
I
he's
am too.
he's one good coach away from exploding into the NFL scene because he is a pure pass rusher for
Yep.
sure.
And he's also a Jayhawk, which tells you all you
And I
need to
think
know.
Karan too. I think to me, guys, Roshan Johnson, Austin Booker, Kiran Amegadjie, I would say Terrell Smith too are the guys that I think have been on this roster that we haven't seen too much of. That these coaches are going to make some professional NFL players for sure. All right, Sean, back to it.
What's
You
the next
said
one?
you think that they're not content, but they are confident in the players they have. All right. This is a big one. After a 68 sack season, after the improvement of this offensive line that Ryan Poles implemented this offseason, the Bears will allow less than 40 sacks this year.
God, I
He's
hope
thinking.
so.
He's thinking.
Oh man, Tooney.
Yeah, I want to hear it, chat. I want
I
to hear
think
it.
they could. I think they can
68
be right.
sacks.
I think they can be.
Got
right
headline.
around-
Guy says headline Vizzo Joe. All right, I said it. I said it a couple weeks ago on this show. I said it, and I got some scowl, so that's why I put it in here because I believe this offensive line can get the sack number below 40 for sure.
Well, league average is around 40 sacks per season. So I will say, with this line staying healthy, that would be a headline for me because I do think that they improved this line enough.
All right, we got a bunch of headlines. You know that
and
you
you
know
wanna
that
know-
Howie's going to say it
You
because
want to know
Howie's
the
not
thing?
even worried about the left side.
I know. I was gonna say, you know what the thing is that even if your left side is a problem, you know you're gonna be strong on the right, so you can add some extra help over to the left. Chip, do whatever you need to do. Scheme. We have a good coach, a smart offensive coach who could scheme. So, I'll go. I'll say headline.
Shy text, we're with you here. Me and Sean actually did a show 2 weeks ago. If you can, go back and check that one out about the impact that Eric Bieniemy is going to have over this entire running back room. Sean stated that he thinks Roshan Johnson becomes the running back that the Bears expect him to be when they draft him, and I think that Kyle Monunga is going to become a really quality pass catcher because that was his worst draft grade. Everybody dinged him on that.
Yeah.
And I think Eric Bieniemy, you don't get to play a whole lot in Eric Bieniemy's offense if you're not catching the ball. Eric Bieniemy also already stated during the first day of OTAs that during rookie minicamp, this kid's got the hands. That's what Eric Bieniemy said. He's got very good hands, so he can catch the ball.
Don't touch the fucking cones.
Don't touch the cones. Yeah, we saw him getting yelled at.
I'm gonna get a shirt made. that
Illinois
says that.
Jones, you are correct. Eberflus was ass, and Waldron thinking that Gerald Everett was the better of the tight ends on this roster just goes to show how clearly dysfunctional this fucking coaching staff was, man.
Hey Brandon,
All
I'm
right.
serious, dude. Wherever you got that shirt made for Bruce, can you make me one that says "Don't touch the fucking cones"?
Yeah, with Eric Bieniemy's face,
With
with
the enemy's
shades,
face.
a thug life, Eric Bieniemy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, last one, man, and this one, I think it's pretty. I'm safe to say headlines. Well, let's see what you guys have to say. Headline or deadline: Colston Loveland will have a better season statistically than not only Cole Kmet but also Tyler Warren.
Who'd you say?
Colston Loveland. A better season than his counterpart on the Chicago Bears, and then a better season than the guy that everyone wanted the Bears to draft at this position, Tyler Warren.
I'll say Cole Kmet and him are equal.
Really? I was going to say if there's a guy who does better, I think just Tyler Warren might have more opportunity.
I think Tyler Warren fell into
Because
a
that
terrible
team is
situation,
because there's a
man.
quarterback that can't throw the ball. You're going to be looking at the tight end a lot over there.
I think he fell into such a bad situation.
Jones says Illinois says headline. Guy Finley says headline. All right. I'm actually going to say deadline to this. I'm going to say Tyler Warren has a better season than I think Colston Loveland has more yards and receptions than Cole Kmet does. I do. I think Loveland does. I think Loveland is the next prototypical tight end in the NFL. I think, like Greg Olson said, he's that George Kittle, Travis Kelce type player. He will be one day. I think Tyler Warren, though, is going to be a guy. The Colts are so they have good receivers too, man, but their quarterback can't throw the fucking ball.
That's
just want to try
that's
to
why
you're going to try
that's
to
why I feel
scheme
really
Tyler
bad.
Warren to getting the ball as much as possible.
That's why I feel really bad for Tyler Warren. I, and this one that's a really tough one for me. I think that Komet is going to be the red zone guy. I think that Colson Level will beat him. I'll say headline, but I don't think it's going to be by that much. If that's fair, if you go back, I could see Colston
You guys heard
Loveland.
it. Sean said Komet sucks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I could see 50 catches, 650 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then maybe 400 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns for Komet.
See, Illinois Jones agrees Tyler Warren has less competition, so the targets are not spread as thin, and so does Shytex. Shytex
I
says
don't know,
only
man.
be
You guys are forgetting
deadline
about something.
only. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, man, they're actually that wide receiver core was much improved last year,
Yeah.
man.
In
They
Indy,
have
dude,
Joshua Downs, they have
Michael
Michael Pittman, and they
Donovan
drafted
Mitchell, AD
Mitchell,
Mitchell.
Adonai
Yeah,
Mitchell, yeah.
dude. There's some kind of here. I'm going to tell you what. I give you a
But
little
Shytex
fantasy.
isn't wrong. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this city too, man. I mean, it's gonna be.
No, 100%, 100%. I'll give you a fantasy football preview, man. Don't sleep on AD Mitchell this year.
Guy Finley says not too many mouths to feed when you average 75 points a game. But that would be. I'm hoping, man, a historic rookie
God,
head coach season. Yeah.
that would be amazing.
But Ben
That
Johnson,
would-
he's got a point too here. Ben Johnson loves his tight ends, and I think this too,
he
man.
does.
This is why I
Hey, I
actually
just
made
gave him
this.
1,000 yards at the wide receiver position, 650 and 400. That's 1,050 yards and
And I think this too, guys.
12 touchdowns.
We look at headline Ben didn't draft. Don't understand.
Hold on, what?
Aviso Joe says headline Ben didn't draft. Oh, Ben didn't draft Tyler Warren. All right, so I do think this too. Colston Loveland is not only going to be used as a tight end in this offense.
Oh, 100%.
He's going to line up as a wide receiver. So the opportunity for Colston Loveland will increase based on that alone. He's able to play multiple positions. Now he's not Brock Bowers. He's not a guy you're going to be trying to, run end arounds or wide receiver reverses, but he's going to be a guy who can play on the outside. He's good at running routes, so you can basically use him anywhere you want. We are drifting into dreams.
Yeah, I know Ben
I mean,
Johnson.
not really though, because like I'm comparing Colston Loveland to Cole Kmet, who's not an elite tight end in the NFL, and then Tyler Warren, like you said, Sean, the quarterback just can't throw the fucking ball.
Dude, so I went to card show this weekend. I sold like $500 worth of cards. I had 2 PSA 10 Anthony Richardson cards.
And
the
you
guy's
had
like,
to pay
"Yeah,
somebody to take them.
he's like, I'll pass on those. You can have those back." I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. You're gonna have to pay me to take those cards. I want my money back. I made $500 on my cards, and then it cost me $500 to sell an Anthony Richardson card. Yeah,
I did flip
dude,
it over.
and dude, I did not know this, and this is just incredible to me. I started doing some homework on why guys like Bo Nix and Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels have had success in the NFL so early, because they're old. They're 24, 25 years old. And I was looking at pass attempts in college football. And most quarterbacks today are drafted, Sean, after like 1,000 to 1,600 pass attempts. Bo Nix had like 1,600 pass attempts.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams had like 1,100 or something. Do you know how many
Anthony
fucking
Richardson.
pass attempts had Anthony Richardson had in college?
It was like 200 or 300.
300.
Yeah.
That is outrageous, man. That's like in the
And
NFL,
here-
that's like 6 games, bro.
Here's
That's
to say
crazy,
though that
dude.
maybe he could develop still into a passer. He does have a cannon. I mean, he does have a cannon of an arm. I will give him that. Accuracy is a problem.
Illinois Jones says 22-12. I don't know what that means.
Here, you know what I did? I'll show you. I flipped those cards into this bad boy. Oh yeah.
Is it signed?
Oh yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Right there. Yeah, I'm selling all my cards, dude. I want more memorabilia. I'm gonna fill this garage up until you
Illinois
can't see a
Jones just hit
wall.
me with a fact. I didn't know. Any Jordan card wearing 45 uniform is worth a lot more than the 23 jersey. Probably because there's less of it, but
Really?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Outside of his rookie.
Yeah, it definitely says
What's
going to
really
need a lot of
funny?
patience with Anthony Richardson. Yeah, like patience enough maybe to die. You might be waiting that out until you're in your grave, man. I don't know.
You
I Anthony Richardson seems like a decent kid. He throws a wicked deep ball, man. I mean, that guy
Yeah,
can
he
throw the
does.
ball like 75 fucking yards.
He's
But
got a cannon.
something's missing because even when he played the Bears, guys, last year, in the game the Bears lost. But when he played the Bears, there was so many plays where I was like, the Bears would be getting murdered in this game if Anthony Richardson could throw a 10-yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
So many times Michael Pittman or Adonai Mitchell or Joshua Downs were just wide open in the flat, like just calling for the ball. And he airmailed it like Trubisky. I mean, like I was just like, oh God, man, this brings back horrible nightmares.
I mean, in 11 games last year, he completed 47.7% of his passage and averaged 6.9 yards per attempt with 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, the 5th highest turnover worthy play rate according to PFF. I mean, and they're
That's the
saying that
lowest yards per attempt I've ever heard in my
yeah, and,
life.
and not to mention, dude, they're saying this is a Yahoo article written 2 days ago. It says that they're hoping there will be competition between, oh God, Daniel Jones and
No
Anthony.
way. Oh my God.
I feel bad for Colts fans, man, because it's not a fan base that I hate at all. I feel really bad for you guys.
Tyler Warren's like, damn it, Ben Johnson.
You want to know the funny thing is, you're going to see Daniel Jones because Anthony Richardson gets hurt a lot because he plays
Oh,
with reckless abandon.
Shy Text, bring the facts. JJ McCarthy has 713 pass attempts. Yeah, it was very low. And listen, JJ McCarthy played more football than Anthony Richardson, but Jim Harbaugh never let the guy throw the ball. And that's got to worry you, man. We've said
Hey,
this a lot on
Razzle
the show.
Dazzle,
He
we got a
threw
new
8
one.
passes in the Penn State game.
We got a new one.
Razzle
Razzle
dazzle.
Dazzle. And what's the
Razzle
2212
dazzle.
family? I want to know. I want to know about this 2212 family.
Yeah, what's the
Don't forget to
2212?
Yeah, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and be 501. We got something special for 501 too. Just kidding.
He don't know nothing about that 2212 family. I want to know what this like. I don't, guys. I don't know
Oh,
if
I
that
think
makes
that
me an
has
idiot.
something to do with Anthony Richardson.
Like
I
he
do.
has 22% passer rating and 12 IQ.
2212. Let's see. Oh, yeah. It says the Anthony Richardson 2212 refers to his age and the year he was drafted. He was 22 years old and was drafted 12th in overall in the draft.
Oh, is that a thing? Is there like a lot of quarterbacks that were
I
22 drafted at number 12? Is
I
that it?
guess this card that just came up of his is sick. Sorry.
Anthony Richardson? Don't you touch that card. You
I'm
don't
not
touch
buying
that
another
card.
Anthony Richardson
No,
card
no.
ever in my life. I got enough Anthony Richardson and Will Levis to fucking last a lifetime
I got
before I
enough
have a.
friends that have Anthony Richardson cards, Sean. I don't need
Well,
any
here's the
more.
deal. Here's the deal. When it comes to card collecting, card collectors will tell you this. It doesn't matter the quarterback, you buy them because quarterbacks, they're worth more than any other card in football that you can buy. And Brandon, I'll show it to you next time you're here, dude. I have a plethora of fantastic football cards. I have 54 Justin Jefferson rookies. I have freaking CD Lambs up the yazoo or Jamar Chase, and none of them. I have Pat Mahomes, and you put all those cards together, and Pat Mahomes is still worth more. And I understand he's a great, but Will Levis's cards still sell. There's still Justin Fields cards that sell for $400-$500, dude.
Will
I mean, it's
Levis? God.
yeah. I they're gonna be spokes in my bike or a
Yeah. Put
coaster.
him in your coffee with your mayo. Fuck that guy. But hey, Guy Finley says Caleb always had a great touch on the deep ball in college, so people are concerned that he's shown it. Our offensive gameplay was crap. I have a theory about this, Guy Finley. Caleb Williams was a rookie. He was under duress a lot. I think there was times where he needed to get the ball out a lot quicker than he anticipated, and he threw only 6 interceptions on the season. I think Caleb was playing safe on his deep balls. I think he was never really giving his receivers an opportunity to make a play on the ball. He was always missing by quite a lot. I think he was afraid of making a mistake, turning the ball over. I do think now that Ben Johnson's the coach of this football team, that's going to get corrected pretty quickly. Now, I do think this. I think Caleb's deep ball is going to get a whole lot more accurate, but his interception ratio will increase for sure. I could
Yeah.
imagine he's going to turn the ball over a little more because you have to take chances, guys. You can't be afraid to fail in the NFL because if you do, you're done. I mean, you have to be willing to fail to succeed, especially in this league and especially at that position. So I think you're going to see the interceptions increase. I do. I know it's strange because Caleb's now 1 year in, but I think he'll probably throw, and I still think it'll be a low number, like maybe 9 to 11, 9 to 12 interceptions, but with 30 plus touchdowns. Because I think he's going to start taking chances on those deep balls. And a guy like Roman Dunze and a guy like Colston Loveland can go up and get that ball if you need it.
See, I'm looking here at Spencer Rattler, dude. Spencer Rattler, fuck man,
John, why are we
they
talking about Spencer Rattler?
I'm just I just missed out. I was just thinking we started talking about cards, and I was
Oh
bidding
boy,
on
we
a
can't go down
Roman
that
Tunze.
rabbit hole. Last time we did
No,
that, we were going to show for 3.5 hours.
I just missed out on a Roman Tunze checkerboard, man, and I'm kind of pissed because it just sold for
John,
$29.
you seen JJ Smiley? I think we have an applause coming.
JJ Smiley. Oh, look at this.
He says,
Let's
good point about Caleb.
go.
JJ, thanks for joining the show. You made me smile. That's for you, buddy. Another applause. And our thanks. Please make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Yeah, and Smiley, I've been saying this for some time. I know a lot of people, and I was concerned as well too about Caleb Williams' deep ball because it did seem to look pretty unfamiliar from what I saw in college. And I think when he was under duress trying to get rid of that ball, he just did not want to throw turnovers, and he did a good job at that. But it also took it took his ability to trust his receivers away from him a little bit. I think he didn't want to take chances. He didn't want to turn the ball over. I think he's going to be a little more willing to take chances because I think Ben Johnson's going to tell him you can't be worried about making mistakes the entire time you play this game, not in this league, man.
Yeah.
So
And
thanks for joining us, though. Razzle Dazzle says, bro, I heard that Jaden Daniels be in the building at 3 a.m. every day, not doing the interviews. That's why he's better than our quarterback. I think that could flip on its head too, Razzle Dazzle. And I think Jaden Daniels is a phenomenal athlete. I think he's a two-way player. He attacks you with his feet or his legs. He attacks you with his arm. But I do think Caleb Williams will ultimately be a better passer than Jaden Daniels is. I think Caleb Williams is also a much smarter player. I think Kingsbury kind of has to direct Jaden Daniels what to do, even on the field. He's in his ear. And Caleb Williams was given the cadence to change plays pre-snap. You're not going to see Jaden Daniels ever do that. Caleb Williams has already kind of proven that he can run an offense. And then Jaden Daniels, guys, infamously known for throwing the ball 80% of the time to one side of the field. That's going to catch up to him. That's a problem. I don't know if anybody knows that. You can Google this. I think Jaden Daniels threw the ball like 76% of the time to one side of the field. Once NFL defenses catch on to that, once coaches have filmed a study, that will be a major problem in his career. I assure you of that. I do
Yeah,
like
you
Jay
know-
Daniels, Sean. You knew that. Sean, you know that. We both did. DJ Profit. Is this another new guy?
Yeah, and I was just going to tell you, Brandon, we're up to 502, man. I'm loving this chat today. I'm loving you guys so gosh darn much. DJ Profit is another guy, another new,
Maybe I've seen. I
another
don't know.
new
Let's give him a
one.
round of applause. He says,
I'm
when you
going.
put in the effort on tape like DJ did last season, it's hard to trust your receivers. Caleb obviously favored Keenan when he needed it. Yeah, and I think you're DJ Prophet, and you're absolutely right. And I think that definitely kind of married to what I'm saying because I think Keenan Allen was much less of a risk because he was kind of that flat route. They did a lot with Keenan Allen running back towards Caleb Williams, especially when he had to extend plays. Keenan Allen has a really good knack for getting back to the quarterback and making himself available. I think that's why Keenan Allen was probably more targeted towards the end of that season than Roman Dunze and DJ Moore were. But again, I think you're going to start to see Caleb Williams a little more willing to take chances. And I'm hoping that Luther Burden can kind of, I don't know, be that Keenan Allen for Caleb Williams one day. It's obviously not going to happen right off the bat, but and then he's a little more explosive than Keenan Allen is when it comes to the speed. So
Who was that? Hold on, really quick. This one's for you, Illinois Jones.
yeah, there was a couple of times though. I don't want to let that go ignored either. There's a couple of times where DJ's effort was questionable, man, and I hate saying that. I love DJ Moore, but I mean, there's one or two times where we saw him just walk off the field, man. I could tell he was
I'm never gonna
frustrated.
question
Not so much
DJ
at Caleb
Moore.
Williams. He was frustrated at the ass situation he was a part of, I think, when it comes to the Bears.
I will never question DJ Moore because DJ Moore is the GOAT. Is gonna be the GOAT. He's always gonna be the GOAT. For me, I love DJ Moore. It was one of my favorite trades that ever happened. When he came here, I was beyond thrilled because I've always been a big fan of his. And the fact that the Bears were able to get him and he came here. And I know no one from my Boobs Fantasy League is listening, but I will.
Oops.
Yeah, our Boobs Fantasy League. I will be drafting him for a third consecutive year in that league because I do have extra picks. And yeah, I'm going to be stealing him yet again.
God, I can't
Even
wait till
though he let
fantasy
me
gets
down
going.
last year and he had a bad season fantasy wise, I'm still going to be getting him back.
Sean,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you want to throw into this conversation before we decide to hang this up? And man, I really hate to because this has been awesome, man. You guys are crushing it. Razzle Dazzle, Shy Tex, Illinois Jones, Ron, Howie, Guy, Fizzo, Joe, man, everybody made a show out tonight. We really, really appreciate you guys. Conversations, one of the best I've ever had. Honestly, Sean, this is one of the best,
Yeah.
this is one of the funner podcasts I have ever done. These guys crushed it tonight in the chat. This conversation always found a new direction and a more interesting one than the last. This has been really fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
You guys are the I wish we were all sitting in a fucking room right now chatting about the Bears, to be honest.
I wish it was 8:30.
Illinois Jones, man, his brother's a card guy, man. So maybe you and him can. No
Who's
block,
that?
no rock. That's right, DJ Prophet. Illinois Jones says his brother's a card guy. He gets his cards graded, goes to PSA as well.
Yeah,
we appreciate you being here, man. Jason as well, man. I forgot Jason, bro. Sorry, Jason.
Flash that up there. Those are some of the prize PSA.
Oh boy, we got Sean started.
Jeffersons and CD Lambs. These right here are eventually going to pay for my daughter's college trip to
Don't
Kansas.
dox Sean's home address. He's sitting on a fortune in cards over there.
Yeah, dude, I'm sitting on. Dude, I got so much crap, dude. You know what though? The national is here in July, and I'm going to look to dump most of it. I'm going to keep my Wimbanyamas. I'm going to keep my Anthony Edwards. I'm going to keep my Justin Jeffersons, CD Lambs. I'll keep the big guys, but everybody else.
He's going to keep his Velus Joneses.
Yeah, Velus Jones. You know what? Oh God,
that card might be worth something once he's considered the worst player ever.
I think I got a Velus Jones, Justin Fields duo card together.
Oh God, just burn it, bro. Bury it in the backyard. Watch the weeds grow. That is fucking awful.
Here we go. Ready?
Anything you want to get out there before we wrap up?
Shit, fuck Green Bay.
All right. Yeah. Let's go. That a boy.
God, I can't.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. We hit 500 tonight, Sean. I'm glad I got to share this moment with you as well. Yeah, no, this has been awesome. Guys, everybody in the chat, we appreciate you. We love you. Please come back. And we got another show on Saturday. Sean and Kyle are doing the Northside 9, covering the Cubs, which has been a really fun team to watch this year, guys. So check that show up. And they even get a Cubs insider on the show every once in a while, Alex Pat. Also, our website. Like I said today, guys, early in the show, Sean put up a new blog today about his top 10 rookie running backs. Go check that out. It was a good read. I'm going to go actually finish it when we finish up here today. I only got to read like 3/4 of it, Sean. I did like what I read so far. Guys, check out 4-Star Chicago
Thank you.
Sports website. And like Sean said, we're going to get something going here where you guys can throw your email in there and we can start doing some kind of raffles and stuff like that, guys. We're going to have some merchandise on the way. I think that's already in the works, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We
and
just
then,
gotta
and then
couple
guys,
eyes on that.
we're gonna release the scheduling for live events too, guys. Where if you're willing, we'd like to meet you guys, all these guys in the chat who have been showing us the love, being loyal, giving us the likes and the subscriptions. We do live shows as well, guys. We do a lot for Bears Care Charity, where we raffle off items signed by memorabilia signed by some of the Bears greats. So and then we're back on Monday, guys, for I think for the first time in what, a month, all four
A
of us
month
are
or
probably going to
so,
be
yeah.
together. The 4 stars will be together again. Dustin, our co-host, just had a baby. He's had some time off, but I think Sean, Kyle, myself, and Dustin will be together again for the Halas Hall Hangover Monday night at 6. FGB, guys. Sean, anything else?
Before we get out of here, Illinois Jones, just for you, man. That's a PSA 10. That's Kaner and Taze together.
That's awesome.
It's actually Taze's second year card, but it is numbered. It's freaking 68 of 100. So there's 100, and I think I got one of the only 10s of these in the freaking world, which makes it even better.
You can say fuck, Sean. You can say guys, thank you. Much love. God bless. Have a safe night, guys, and we'll see you on Saturday. But please make sure you're back Monday night for the Halas Hall Hangover.
Absolutely.
Sean,
Love you guys.
always
Bear
a
down.
pleasure. Get yourself some sleep, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here.